I'm Wayne Cabot. The U.S. now launching strikes against Iran. U.S. Central Command saying that American forces began the strikes against Iran at 5 p.m. Eastern at the Commander-in-Chief's direction. CENTCOM says the attacks are a proportional response to unjustified Iranian aggression. President Trump accusing Iran of shooting down a U.S. Army Apache helicopter near the Strait of Hormuz this morning. The president saying he will respond to the attack, and that's what's happening now. Service members on the helicopter were rescued by a drone, says ABC's Louis Martinez.
All of this happened during nighttime. In the middle of the night, around 4 in the morning local time, as this helicopter, normally accompanied by another helicopter, would have been operating together. And then we know now that this boat drone was able to pluck them out of the water.
Iran says the best way for foreign forces near the strait to reduce the risk is for them to leave. This is ABC News. Jeffrey Epstein's executive assistant ignored reporters as she arrived today for a congressional hearing on what she knew. Leslie Groff was an assistant for 18 years. Her name appears more than 150,000 times in the Epstein files. She testified that she was unaware he was abusing underage girls, calling her boss a master manipulator.
Through her attorneys, Groff has denied any knowledge of or participation in Epstein's crimes. The House Oversight Committee also plans to interview Bill Gates later this week.
ABC's Peter Haralambous. An Air Canada pilot is accused of flying thousands of passengers without the proper license. ABC's Hannah Battah.
Officials say the investigation began after a random certification check revealed inconsistencies. The airline denies safety was ever compromised, saying all pilots at Air Canada undergo mandatory recurrent training every 6 months. But acknowledging the licensing process is essential. The airline saying it takes this matter with utmost seriousness.
Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
Finally, some traction for neighbors along Aurora Avenue who complain about crime. We're going to explain that in just a moment. But first, Nate Connors has your KIRO News Radio traffic.
Thank you, Jillian. Trees down across the map this afternoon. Be on the lookout for debris on the roads ahead of you. Also, we have a wind advisory in effect at the Tacoma Narrows Bridge, and your Sound Transit's 1 and 2 lines are experiencing delays this afternoon due to scattered power outages. Now, in Belfair, we have a closure on State Route 3 near Union River Road. We have a detour in place, but a power pole has been taken out, so this will be a long-term closure. In Kirkland, North 405 and Northeast 85th, got a stall in that left general purpose lane. You're backed up to 520, Belvedere Linwood pushing an hour. Seattle to Linwood, just 20 minutes, crowded through Shoreline, and again, north of that Linwood interchange. South 5 into downtown, we're bumper to bumper from Lake City Way to I-90, half hour between Linwood and Seattle to Federal Ways at 35 minutes. We're stop and go from the Boeing Access Road all the way to 516. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Jillian Raftery. A major change could be coming to Washington classrooms. No cell phones during the school day. Governor Bob Ferguson announced that today.
I'll be proposing an away-for-the-day ban on cell phones in schools, meaning that from the first bell to the last, students will not have access to their cell phones.
He's expected to pitch it to the legislature next session. The King County Council continues to work to establish an inspector general and overhaul other internal oversight functions after audits revealed millions of dollars lost to fraud or just misplaced at 2 agencies.
Any suspected fraud, waste, or abuse of the county administered funds should be referred to the Inspector General Division, not just in incidences where a complaint is filed. So any suspected fraud, waste, or abuse.
That's just one amendment proposed by Councilmember Teresa Mosqueda. The bill goes to the full council June 23rd. Neighbors of crime-ridden Aurora Avenue North are urging city leaders to help them crack down on gun violence. If not for them, then for World Cup visitors.
That World event really scares me for our neighborhood. It scares me for the visitors. It scares me for the people who commute down 99. This is not just our neighborhood. This is cross 99 shootouts.
City council members are now urging Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson to close off traffic to 5 side streets near Aurora Avenue. Renton police have a new tool to keep watch over the skies during the World Cup.
It's called the D-Drone Trailer, and it detects unauthorized drones in real time, reads their remote ID, and pinpoints where the pilot is standing. It will not, however, force a drone out of the sky. Renton PD says most operators are recreational flyers who don't know the rules, so officers will focus on education, not punishment. Now, through July 21st, the FAA has restricted drone flights within a 1-mile radius of Boeing, the Landing, and the Sounders FC Center at Longacres. That's where the Belgian national team will train. Frank Lindsay, KIRO News Radio.
A new name has emerged as a potential bidder for the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks, who are currently up for sale by the Paul Allen estate. According to an article published Tuesday by Liz Hoffman of Semaphore, billionaire financier Todd Bowley is, quote, weighing a bid for the Seahawks. He's the chairman and owner of Chelsea Football Club and a member of the ownership group for the Los Angeles Dodgers, Los Angeles Lakers, and Los Angeles Sparks. Now checking in with your weather, we are having those gusty winds and expected to die down in the evening. Tomorrow mainly dry, high of 66, and getting sunnier and warmer throughout the rest of the week. It is 63 degrees right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
And here we go. It's Greg Tomlin and Tim Gatos in on the John Curley Show. I was trying to make one of those funny noises that John makes every hour that begins the program. We're doing this today. It's going to be an exciting show, Tim. Good to see you, my brother.
Good to see you. Good to be back with you. This is fun.
Likewise. Yeah, it seems like only 4 days ago we were here on that fateful Friday night.
That fateful Friday.
I still remember it.
And here we are. Here we are.
Did you enjoy the sunny yet blustery day here in the Northwest?
Yeah, I tell you, I mean, we're getting ready for some serious sun coming, which here we go. I'm excited about.
Hold on to your butts.
Here we go.
As Samuel L. Jackson once famously said.
As long as it doesn't hit 90s, because I'm one of those, like, Washington wimps. You know, it's like I want the sun, but no more than 80.
Not that much.
At that point, you know, it's just too hot. Oh, wow. Glenn Frey?
I'm going like 1984 to start the show, man.
Oh, my gosh. I love it.
I'm glad that you got that right away.
Oh, heck yeah.
Soundtrack to what Eddie Murphy movie?
Beverly Hills Cop.
PHC.
It's on the street.
Which one, Nate? One.
Yeah, it's numero uno, the first one.
Okay.
So don't you feel like this month of June we've experienced like 3.5 seasons out of 4? Sun, rain, wind, cold.
Thunderstorms.
Pouring rain yesterday. But like you hinted at, temperatures are expected to climb near 90 degrees across western Washington this weekend. Seattle could see its first 90-degree day of the year as soon as Sunday or Monday. And you know what that means, Tim?
What?
I will at long last have to heed my wife's call to get our air conditioners out of the garage.
Okay.
And installed into the windows of our house. I've been holding out. Each year I try to hold out as long as I can. But if you see 90 on the horizon, it's time. It's time.
We pulled ours out back, what was that? We had a few days of like mid-80s back in last month.
But see, I knew that was going to be a tease. And so
you were willing to just make your wife sweat it out, not sleep,
and the kids.
You're willing to do that?
I don't. It's this weird dad logic. I don't know where it comes from. It comes and goes. But I thought, I know this is going to be short-lived. And once the air conditioning units are in the windows, they don't come out until like September, October.
So
I wasn't ready to break the seal.
Your wife's listening right now and is just like shaking her head, saying, "Greg, my sleep is a game to you."
Actually, when you put it that way. Okay, one of my least favorite tropes of today's zeitgeist is the phrase, "you are not alone." I think it's overused and somewhat meaningless. But with this next story, Tim, I'm going to use that exact phrase. If you've experienced an allergy nightmare this spring in the Northwest, you are not alone. So the story in the Seattle Times, Portland and Seattle are among the worst cities for grass pollen in the U.S. this year.
That and a lot of other things.
I mean, add it to the list, right?
Right.
But have you experienced any of these troubles?
No, a couple of my kids do. My wife does as well. I'm for whatever reason, I'm allergy.
You have super immunity?
I have immunity. I don't get any issues, but man, a couple of my kids, it's like you just broke out in rashes all over. What is happening right now?
I don't know. I wasn't really in tune with allergies when I was younger. I think I've had them my whole life, but it took till about my mid-30s, in one spring day where my wife pointed out that I was teary-eyed and itchy all over. And she said, I think you have really bad allergies. And then all of a sudden hit me like a ton of bricks. Oh, yeah. I've had this my whole life, but I never made the connection. I'm a little slow with the upshot, right. I guess. But it's anecdotal, but I've been hearing people all season complain about allergies, and almost like to a point where I've been annoyed by how many people have come up to me and talked about it. But then Seattle Times, this story today says, no, they're not imagining things. We're some of the worst allergies in the country.
I did think about it a couple times this year. It was probably a month or so ago when, you come out to your car, in the morning and just absolutely covered in pollen. It's like, I don't know if I remember my car just being unbelievably covered like this before. And I mean, here it was. I mean, it was just like it rained pollen all night, and you got to go get a car wash.
It never fails. I wash my car one day, and then the pollen would appear in the morning. Like the same thing as the bird pooping on the car right when it's clean. The pollen had the exact same effect this spring. Okay, turning to now a slightly more elevated topic, more weighty topic. Have you been following the new 50-unit homeless shelter that's going to be opening in Seattle's Inner Bay neighborhood here, marking the first new shelter under neophyte mayor Katie Wilson?
Yeah, this is interesting because for a couple of reasons. One is that their goal was to have 500 by the end of this year, 500 units.
I thought it was 1,000. 500
by, you're right, 500 by June, 1,000 by end of the year, hopefully 500 by the World Cup. And now we're somewhere between 50 and 75. It's interesting because this is being done by Pallet Shelter. Pallet is run by a gal named Amy King. They've done shelters down in L.A., these little tiny homes. They've tried for years to kind of get into the social pipeline up here, and now they've done it. But what's fascinating is that their costs of these shelters versus something that's very comparable that we've used before is about 3 to 4 times what the other costs were for some of these tiny houses that we've done. And so yesterday at this press conference in Inner Bay, Katie Wilson did a press conference. Good for her. I'm glad she did. And she took a bunch of questions, but it was interesting because a lot of folks were like, why in the world are we spending 3 to 4 times what for actually a smaller footprint, a smaller tiny house than we've been spending before? And I know a lot of the neighbors there in the Magnolia Inner Bay area are pretty concerned about what this could bring. Certainly, I live not too far from one in Lake City. And here's some audio from one of the neighbors.
I'm here down here to see these little houses that they built down here.
You're a neighbor, right?
Yeah, I'm a neighbor. I live on Magnolia with my wife, Beth. And we've been living here all our lives. And we see the crime and everything increasing, of course. And it's not going to be any difference. It's just a lipstick on a pig. It's just more of the same and more taxes, more graffiti, more homeless. It's going to increase. So I think the main guts of the whole thing is you got to have recovery first before you just put them in a home. I believe in putting them in a home and getting better, but you can't do it backwards. What they're doing is backwards. I give it another year and all these businesses will probably be shut down with all the crime that's going to happen.
From this pallet shelter?
Oh, for sure. Because right now they're going over there and doing the same thing, and they're not living like close. And Magnolia's going to get infiltrated with more crime. 3 in the morning, the same old riffraff.
I think one of the reasons I feel for this guy and completely understand where he's coming from is that in terms of the homeless issue, a lot of times we talk about it in that it's a game of whack-a-mole. You sweep one encampment and then it's moved somewhere else. But at least in that case, it's not ideal, but at least it's transitory. When you have 50 units, in a homeless shelter going up, that screams kind of more permanence. And hey, you better get used to this because it's not simply an encampment that's popped up that can be here one day and gone the next. And so his lipstick on a pig analogy rings very true. And you can just feel the frustration where homelessness has just been a blight on so many of these communities here in the Seattle area.
Yeah. Well, at least you get to just, at 6 o'clock here, Greg, you get to just go to the east side and just forget about it, And
it's coming. It's coming to the Bellevue area a little bit. I've seen it come. The authorities deal with it a little more swiftly on the east side, but you can sort of sense the frog in the kettle thing, where the heat slowly gets turned up. I was at an intersection the other day in Bellevue, and a guy was crossing the street at about a half mile an hour and, pants like 3/4 of the way down. One, you feel for the guy first. That's always my impulse, is not to have like a anger reaction to that, because I don't want to lose my humanity. The first thing I feel is like sort of grief and sadness that this situation is going on. And at the same time, I feel like I think of the bigger picture and I go, are we just going to start tolerating this here now? Because the more visible it is and the more tolerated it is, the more the word gets out, hey, we will acquiesce on this issue in this city as well, and in this city, and this city. And if it's not like nipped in the bud right away, you have a major problem on your hands.
What I find interesting in this conversation, I was mentioning how much these particular tiny houses, the pallet shelters, are 3 to 4 times the previous iteration that we were using in the city of Seattle.
The cost.
Yeah. And this is just this is the fascinating thing about this. And I think the fascinating thing about this, fascinating is not the right word, maybe frustrating, about this new wave of activist politicians that we have. Mm-hmm. That's really I would say over the last 10 years, we have this wave of activist politicians who many have never really had to account for a budget. They've never really had to make the types of decisions that are needed when you look at, a budget sheet and you look at actuals and revenue. And there's so many things that we see that, that probably, have learned in their universities and they are involved in some kind of activist work. And then we see this with Katie Wilson and many others, where now all of a sudden, when it comes to actually overseeing a budget, overseeing the forecasting,
when the rubber meets the road,
and really it's someone else's money, right? They've never had to account for it themselves, really. And so the way that they approach it is that, well, this is not mine, right? This is someone else's, right? It's the taxpayers, but they don't, when they spend 3 to 4 times more on a tiny village than they used to pay, they're not thinking about it from the terms of, man, I've really had to fine tooth a budget before, and I'd have to pencil this thing out and really make sure that this works.
It's the very unsexy part of the job, right?
And so here we are. I mean, there's really no sense of accountability when it comes to, budget and how we spend. And this goes into a lot of things we see in our state and the state of Washington. A lot of if you go down the list of our Olympia legislators, oh my goodness. I mean, we could just name the names right now of the people in all of our districts, and Marco Elias and, Jerry Pallett and all these Olympia legislators who have never really had to carry a budget. And it comes to, and there's a carelessness when it comes to people's monies and the taxpayers' monies.
And there's almost a flaw within the system itself, and that is winning an election is distinctly different than governing or running a city or being a head executive. You talk to any CEO, the majority of their job is not forward-facing, front-facing, outward-facing, right, to the public. But so Katie Wilson wins an election, and she does it large in part because she is an outspoken activist and an ideologue and checks all the proper boxes for the type of values that, the majority of voters want in the Seattle area. But when it comes to actually governing and doing the hard work behind the scenes, a complete neophyte, right?
Yeah.
And so I think we're going to be seeing this for years to come. When it comes to actually doing the job, you're going to see more and more problems because of that lack of experience. But again, knows how to win an election? Absolutely. Nobody is arguing with that. But those are two very different things.
Think of how much things have changed in the dynamics of, at least locally and probably nationally, politics. So we talked about that. She promised and said, we're going to do 1,000 by the end of the year, 500 by World Cup.
This makes me think, I want to interrupt for a second. You know that those Pawn Star memes where I think Rich Harrison, the pawn shop on the Vegas Strip, it's a famous show on the History Channel, and there's a famous meme where someone comes in and is like, hey, I want $1,000 for this item, and then he claps back and says, best I can do is 50. That's the first thing I thought of with Katie Wilson here is we're going to do 1,000 shelters, and she comes back with best I can do is 50.
Yeah. I mean, you think about how much has changed in just 10 to 15 years politically when it comes to accountability of politicians. So here she's going to get 50 on her 500 goal, right? I mean, that's what's the percent? 10%. So she got 10% of her goal. And in yesteryears, so I'm thinking of like maybe one of our last good mayors we had here in Seattle, Greg Nichols. So Greg was he was a good mayor and he governed well. We're talking back in the 2000s. And if you recall,
I remember Nicholsville. that's all I remember from that. I was in college.
So the reason he got ousted was because there was a snowstorm and he asked what kind of grade, he was asked a question, what grade would you give on the snowstorm? And I don't know, I think it was like an A or B or something, right? And people were so upset because
and that was like a scandal that he gave it an A.
Yeah, because he gave it an A and he was literally ousted for, what some of our citizens thought was a kind of a poor response to the snowstorm that they, and granted, he did get some favorable treatment, which I think is fair. Like his house in West Seattle got, his street got plowed earlier or something. But the point is, he got ousted, literally ousted, because he gave himself an A on the snowstorm response when maybe it was more of a C, right? Do you think there's going to be any sort of uproar or accountability for Katie Wilson, who said, I'm going to do 500 shelters by World Cup, and she came in with 10% of her goal?
I think you make an apt observation, and it partly goes to left and right, and that is, I think somewhere over the last 25, 30 years, we've replaced results with ideology and checking the right boxes that we want you to check, and have turned a blind eye to what it actually produces at the end of the day. And so somehow we need to swing the pendulum back to caring more about the results rather than, you fit the profile of the type of person we want to govern, and then you just do your thing and we won't follow up. Yeah. Zero accountability. We didn't have time to get to the story about the Regional Homeless Authority and what has happened to $8 million in unaccounted spending, $6 million in administrative overspending, $1 million in interest payments, and at one point being in the red by $44 million. And the fact that that's not an outrage receiving round-the-clock coverage here speaks to exactly the dynamic you and I are talking about.
Yeah, why is that? Let us know what you think about that. Why is there really not much more accountability in politics and governance today? Let us know. 888-973-5476. 888-973-5476. That's a Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Text line, let's check in with Lori. Not Lori.
Yes. Oh, wow.
That's That's
Nate, your Lori impression, Nate Dogg?
See, we were like joking how much we had fun with Lori last Friday. And
that was not a joke. You guys didn't even know I was behind you when you were saying all that. Oh, my gosh.
Tim Gatos, Greg Tomlin in on the John Curley Show. Let's toss it to the Nate Dogg at the real-time traffic desk.
Thank you. And I don't blame you, Lori. It was a lot of fun. Home Comfort Alliance has our update out in Belfair. State Route 3 is shut down in both directions near Union River Road for downed trees. Also, a power pole got taken down. So this is a long-term closure. There are detours, but they are lengthy. In Northgate, we've got a new collision, North 5 and 130th, blocking 2 left lanes. You're backed up to 85th. Seattle to Linwood right now is at 25 minutes. Over on the east side, North 405 and Northeast Northeast 85th. We cleared an earlier stall out of your way, but there's still some crowding through Kirkland, and then a little bit north in Canyon Park, all added up. Bellevue to Linwood, we're at a half hour. South 5 heading into Seattle is bumper to bumper from Lake City Way to I-90, half hour from Linwood to Seattle. North 5 is solid from before the West Seattle Bridge past I-90. No longer any backups though at the Ship Canal Bridge now that Revive I-5 is on pause for the World Cup, opening up a couple lanes across that bridge. And South 405, you're pretty solid now from 520 all the way down to the VMAC, half hour from Bellevue to Renton. Summer's fast approaching. Get a quote for a new air conditioning system on your phone in just 60 seconds from Home Comfort Alliance. Visit homecomfortalliance.com now. KIRO News Radio Real-Time Traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, winner of 7 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards, including overall excellence and investigative reporting.
Just 29 hours later, Joshua Headley sent an unsolicited email to me writing, "I understand there may be a news story coming out."
Thank you who listen, stream, and watch every day. The driving force that pushes us to be the Northwest trusted news source. KIRO News Radio. 97.3 FM.
Healthcare costs are rising, and a major driver is hospital prices. They've increased more than 250% over the past 25 years. Families and local businesses are feeling it. At Primera Blue Cross, we're working to change that by negotiating with hospitals to secure fair, responsible prices so you can get the care you need at a cost you can afford. That's coverage that counts. Learn more at coveragethatcounts.primera.com.
Always exhausted, loud snoring, keeping your partner awake? You could have sleep apnea and not even know it. South Seattle Smiles has a comfortable solution with no CPAP required. Most medical insurance accepted. Call 206-241-5533 today. SouthSeattleSmiles.com.
At Guardian Roofing, Gutters, and Insulation, we know that keeping your home watertight and dry is essential to your family's safety and comfort. Having well-functioning gutters prevents water damage to your home and prolongs the life of your roof. Whether you need a cleaning or a complete gutter install, we do it all. Call today and get $250 off a gutter installation and visit us at guardianroofing.com.
Did you really think Pure Talk was just going to sit back and watch America turn 250 years old without doing something awesome to celebrate? Of course not. That's why they're raising $250,000 for America's Warrior Partnership by the end of July. America's Warrior Partnership is on the front line of preventing veteran suicide. They've had extraordinary success, and here's how you can help. When you switch your cell phone service to Pure Talk this month, you'll be invited to round up to support America's Warrior Partnership. No pressure, but if you do, Pure Talk will match your donation dollar for dollar. And to further celebrate 250 years of our extraordinary democratic republic, Pure Talk is offering unlimited talk, text, and data for just $34.99 a month. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe. That's pound 250, say Mike Rowe. And happy birthday to us.
Spring is the perfect time to make improvements that protect and add value to your home. Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. For decades, homeowners across the Pacific Northwest have trusted our team for roofing, siding, windows, and custom decking. This spring, save up to $3,000, or qualified homeowners can take advantage of 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest up to 24 months. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule your free estimate.
Do you notice sounds coming from your crawl space or attic, or possibly stale or foul odors in your home? This could be that rodents have gotten into your attic and crawl and have made it their home. They tear up the insulation to make nests to have babies. They contaminate it with their biological waste, which can be harmful to your health. And they ruin your home's energy blanket, costing you thousands of dollars a year. If you even think you may have a problem, call Insulation Northwest today, and we will come to your home as soon as tomorrow and perform a free, no-obligation inspection to determine what the problem is. This inspection normally costs $199, but it's yours free just for calling today. If we discover any problem with rodents in your home, we can get them out and keep them out and restore your home's protective insulation blanket back to brand new condition. Let Insulation Northwest give peace and comfort back to you and your family and save you thousands of dollars in energy savings. Call Insulation Northwest today, the real insulation company.
InsulationNorthwest.com. Nick, you know what's a great thing about going to Longevity Medical Clinic as a couple?
Oh, I absolutely do. When they tell you to do something, you actually do it.
Right. And the same thing with you when they tell you to do it, because for some reason, when I tell you to do it, you're like, whoa.
I just walk away and roll my eyes.
Exactly. But the great thing about Longevity Medical Clinic, the doctors there know, because we do the blood draw and they look and they can see, they know, they hold us accountable.
Yeah, when I'm under pressure and I know I'm coming in, I know I have to work the program.
Right. Plus, we also want to hold each other accountable for how we take care of ourselves because, we want to have a long, healthy, happy life.
I know. I want every day to torture you as long as I possibly can.
Well, I look forward to it. Here's the great thing about Longevity Medical Clinic. They're working with you. They're holding you accountable because they want you to have a long, healthy, happy life. I was a patient at Longevity long before I started doing these commercials. So get your free health analysis. Go to lmclinic.com. That's lmclinic.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Jillian Raftery. The U.S. is launching what it says are retaliatory strikes against Iran. State television reports reviewed by the New York Times warn of explosions and air defense sirens in cities along Iran's Persian Gulf coast. Earlier today, President Donald Trump promised some sort of response after he said Iran was responsible for shooting down a U.S. military helicopter in the Strait of Hormuz. Just yesterday, the president had said a peace deal was in the final stages, even as Iran and Israel traded missile strikes over the weekend. A 13-year-old now faces felony charges in the death of his 17-year-old cousin in Seattle. New court documents reveal it was initially reported as a suicide, but the boy's mother pressed him, and investigators say found out her son had been holding the gun when it went off. She coordinated his surrender to police. Now that suspect faces charges including manslaughter and unlawful possession of a firearm. It's not clear where that gun came from. He's expected to give a plea in court tomorrow. Seattle is bracing for about 750,000 World Cup visitors and 6 matches at Lumen Field. KIRO News Radio's James Lynch has more on security preparations.
Seattle Police Chief Sean Barnes said on the G and Ursula show that the tournament is a SEER 2 federal security event. We will see hundreds of officers in FIFA gear, tight road closures, and a major focus on keeping fans safe.
There'll be some things that you will see and some things that you will not see. So for bad actors, be careful because you never know who you're going to be talking to.
Barnes says about 400 officers will be deployed on each match day. Locals are urged to use transit, arrive early, and just focus on having a good time while police handle public safety. James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
More layoffs in our region. Bellevue-based Expeditors International is cutting about 230 jobs across Washington. The Fortune 500 service-based logistics company says these layoffs stem from a restructuring of its U.S. Global Technology Department. Workers were notified on Monday. And a quick check of your outages. We've got about 9,000 across the Puget Sound Energy region, and in Snohomish County, about 4,000 because of those gusty winds. Nate, we're going to check in with you for traffic.
Yeah, it's getting busy out there. That wind isn't helping. Let's see. This one brought to us by Seattle Mariners. Northbound on the express lanes just before Mercer, we have a disabled semi blocking your left lane. Not much of a backup yet as this just occurred. The main line, North 5, you're bumper to bumper before the West Seattle Bridge just past I-90. Then things open up for you. And then in Northgate, North 5 at 130th, the collision blocks 2 left lanes. And you're backed up to Ravenna Boulevard. So right now, Seattle to Linwood is up to 35 minutes. South 5, we're bumper to bumper from Lake City Way to I-90. South 405 slows from 520 all the way down to the Renton Landing, and it's pretty thick till you get down to the VMAC. About 35 minutes now from Bellevue to Renton, and a new collision heading into Marysville, North 5, just before the Steamboat Slough. A crash blocks your center lane, and it is just dumping rain up there right now. You're bumper to bumper to the Snohomish River, but you actually start to slow back at 526. So Everett to Marysville right now is at 20 minutes and about to climb. Don't miss fireworks nights all summer long, presented by T-Mobile. The next show is June 19th. Get your tickets at mariners.com/fireworks. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Nate said it's raining in the north end, but there's a big dry spot around Seattle and Silverdale and Bremerton, and we're going to be drying out overnight with allegedly dry weather tomorrow and increasing sun and warmth throughout the week with a high of 66 Wednesdays and 72 by Thursday. It is 63 degrees right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This hour brought to you by Home Comfort Alliance.
Tim Gatos, Greg Tomlin in on the John Curley Show today. Greg, always good to be with you. We've got a great program. My goodness, Kathy Moore, former city council member, is going to be with us coming up. Also, with the World Cup, there's a lot of questions about, are they just going to clean this thing up for the guests coming in? But what about us? We'll talk with Aaron Goodman from the Soto BIA. Well, folks, you're not in studio, but right now I'm looking at Mr. Greg here, who is he's doing jumping jacks, he's smiling, he's crying, all these things combined into one. I've never seen him, I don't think, as thrilled and happy as I see him right now. Greg, this is like Christmas morning for you.
It's a big day.
The news that just came out, breaking news. And Greg is now officially on the Chris Reichdahl, Bob Ferguson train.
I think for the time being I am. Yes, it might be short-lived.
So they announced the big news that there's a cell phone ban that's going to be starting here next year.
Well, they're going to be pushing for it. They're aiming for that. And I think you undersold it, Tim Gatos. To me, this is like Christmas morning. It's Easter. It's Labor Day. It's Veterans Day. It's July 4th, all wrapped into one when it comes to potential policies on the docket for the state legislature. Because anyone who's caught a minute or two of me guest hosting on KIRO over the last 3 to 4 years, I'm a broken record on this, and I've said that this issue of kids and smartphones is like the defining issue for parents of our generation. And I've long held that we need more regulation on them, more policies on them, and we just need to wake up and be in tune with what's really going on and the deleterious effects that smartphones and specifically social media are having on our kids. So I was very pleased today to see this story that Washington's governor and state schools superintendent both plan to ask the legislature next year to ban cell phone use during the school day in K through 12 public schools. It's going to be called Away for the Day. And that's how you know it's a good policy, because it rhymes.
Yeah.
Tim?
Oh, let's get a T-shirt.
Yes, absolutely. And Bob Ferguson was at Robert Eaglestaff Middle School today in North Seattle and said this.
I'll be proposing an Away for the Day ban on cell phones in schools, meaning that from the first bell to the last, students will not have access to their cell phones.
This is huge. It's nonpartisan. Left, right should get on board with this. The research is in. We now know the data. Excessive smartphone usage and smartphones being available during the school day lead to distractions in class, reduced academic performance, cheating, mental health problems, cyberbullying, disciplinary issues, privacy issues, on and on and on. There's almost zero upside. The strongest argument a lot of parents had for years was, well, what if there's an emergency at school? And I think the pros of a cell phone ban far outweigh the cons. And in fact, in an emergency situation, sometimes smartphones make things even worse and more complicated, because you have all these students trying to communicate when they need to be focusing on, what a teacher or an admin is telling them to do in an emergency situation. And so
you don't think getting better at Roblox kind of fits into no, okay.
No,
Sorry.
Tim. Or watching copious amounts of YouTube during class when you're supposed to be getting instruction. 38 states already have some form of statewide law, policy, or requirement that restricts student cell phone use in K through 12, and about 18 states have a bell-to-bell ban. So I even think Washington's a little late to the game on this, and I can only hope that there's bipartisan support for this in the legislature. Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think to be ecstatic about this? Do you think there are liberty concerns about this?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but I don't know if I'm like, on the as hardcore
fervent.
Sure. this is going to go down as your issue, Greg. I mean, we'll remember you, and we'll say, remember Greg Tomlin. He served us well, and he got Ferguson and Reichdahl to do the ban.
I think they were listening every time I had the chance to fill in.
But
Who's this guy?
But here's something. A study that was published here last month actually shows that there was no significant academic gains to those schools that were banning cell phones. What do you say to that?
Well, hold on. Who did the study? Where did it, is this like whatchamacallitnews.com or something?
This is the National Bureau of Economic Research.
National Bureau. Okay, tell me a little bit more about the study.
Well,
as you come in guns blazing to undermine my Christmas morning feeling.
I'm not. No, I'm just. Hey, I'm not trying to.
Hold on, now I got to look it up.
The other thing that I was going to mention too is the other issue that these schools are finding is that suspension rates are going up. As soon as they ban cell phones, all of a sudden the kids are getting suspended from school.
So so that kind of makes sense if you think about it. For the same reasons, there's been trade-offs, right? One of my favorite things to say, there's no trade-off, there's no solutions this side of heaven, there's only trade-offs. You've seen things like teen pregnancy go way down with the advent of smartphones and social media. You've seen ruckus behavior on the decline. But the issue is it's all moved online into this fantasy land. So the trade-off is you get way more anxiety, depression, distraction, rewiring your brain to not be able to critically think, and so on and so forth. So you have to ask yourself, what is the better trade-off at the end of the day? So it does not surprise me that you would see more adverse behavior when you don't have the distraction of the cell phone, because it manifests itself more in a physical form. But I think that trade-off in the long run is probably worth it. You're not going to get a fix-all.
Your oldest is how old?
15.
15. Yeah. Does your 15-year-old have a cell phone?
She does.
She does. Okay.
With a lot of restrictions.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
you got daughters too. So I mean, what have you done in your household that has worked? Or
well, you just took my question.
But okay.
You're the passion. I wanted to ask you. How do you handle this? And
well, the first thing is we started a dialogue very early before she was even handed the phone. So she was late to the game. Every one of her friends had one before she did. And then she would constantly come, why can't I get one? Why can't I go? Okay, we're going to give you one. And I think she got it when she entered 7th grade. But we said, here are our guardrails. And dude, I sat her down and we watched this is the kind of dad I am.
Yeah.
We watched like interviews with Tristan Harris, one of the experts in this field. I showed her interviews with Jonathan Haidt. We watched like CBS Sunday Morning reports on this. We watched 60 Minutes.
Wow.
And I said, here is why we are very cautious to give you one of these things. And when we finally succumb to this, this is why you will have no internet browser, no YouTube, no apps, and no social media. You will have a phone number. And even opening her to the world of text threads at 7th grade was dicey there for a while. Yeah. What a minefield that was. That was our first big kind of
from a high level, Greg. Like when you're thinking high level. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of concerns, obviously, that parents have around, and we could talk for a long time about all these different types of concerns.
Yeah.
But from a high level, what is your top concern when you think of like your kids and why you would show them all those shows and walk through all that, which is what's that bleeding edge, that main concern for you?
The main concern is that something that exists in such a way that is going to create a very negative dynamic with our daughter is going to win the battle of her mind over us as parents.
Like philosophically?
Yeah, philosophically, spiritually, like what you fill yourself up with will win the battle of your mind when you're in those formative, foundational years, when you're still learning how to think, when you're developing your critical thinking skills. I didn't want to cede that battle to tech giants and people looking to make a buck off of my daughter's attention span, or my 2 sons, for that matter, who are younger than her. Yeah. And so my wife and I talked about this today. My daughter's turning 16 in the winter, And that's going to be the first time we allow like an internet browser on her phone.
Yeah.
And we think like when you get your license, that's when we're going to give you Safari, Google Chrome, and all that kind of stuff. She can use our family computer now, right? But we kind of can see into that.
Yeah.
But we're going to give it to her on her phone at 16. Even that might be too early, but that's what we've decided after like many years of deliberating over this.
Right.
So.
Yeah, no, I mean, that makes sense, and I can definitely see that. I mean, especially after my kids have my phone, and then I'm like, I check to see, they were on this YouTube show, Trinity and Madison, and just this mindless, just nothingness. As like, man, we're in the black hole of nothingness.
We only let our kids watch YouTube on the family TV so we can see the YouTube. And my son is into YouTube Shorts, and large in part they're about baseball. But I can see what it's doing to his mind. He's learning to like get into things for 10 seconds and then get out of them.
Yeah.
And we're losing. And so we have made a rule, no more YouTube
What
Shorts
do y'all
in the
think?
house.
Let us know what you think. Do you guys have a rule? Do you, what do you guys do? Let us know. 888-973-5476. Tim Gatos, Greg Tomlin in on the John Curley Show. Toss it over to Nate at the real-time traffic desk. What's up, Nate?
It's a busy day. Global Credit Union has the update. Northbound on the express lanes just before Mercer, we've got this stalled semi blocking your left lane. Further up on the main line, North 5 at 130th and Northgate, a collision blocks 2 left lanes. We're bumper to bumper approaching Ravenna. Seattle to Linwood is up to a 40-minute drive. Bellevue to Linwood, in comparison, a half hour. You're slow through Kirkland and again through Bothell. Up in Everett, we've got this collision North 5 just before the Steamboat Slough. It's been moved from the center lane to the far right lane. It is dumping rain up there, adding to the slowdowns. And you're backed up to 526. Everett to Marysville is at a half hour, about a 20-minute delay. And State Route 3 in Belfair near Union River Road is closed in both directions due to downed trees. A detour is set up, but this is going to be a long-term closure. Global Credit Union, where members enjoy no-fee accounts and early payday with direct deposit. Learn more at globalcu.org. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Are you in pain? Have you considered surgery or even joint replacement? Hi, everybody. It's John Curley. Before you make that decision, I recommend you see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. I did, and it's been a game changer. My doctor took a look at my x-rays and said, well, looks like you need a whole new hip. And then he said, wait, how old are you? And I told him, and then he said, well, wait, you're too young for a hip. You're just going to have to, live with the pain. We'll see you in 3 years. It was horrible. Dr. Wagner is a board-certified Seattle physician with over 30 years of experience performing more than 20,000 stem cell procedures, using a person's own stem cells to regenerate cartilage in their own joints. People with severe osteoarthritis, even bone on bone, are back doing what they enjoy doing without pain and without surgery. So whether it's a hip like I had, or a shoulder, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before choosing surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first. Go to drmarkwagnermd.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
Digging in my yard, trying to lay a pipe. I hit a water line and now I have to pay a big fine. I should have called 811.
The team that gave me back my full head of hair, Advanced Hair, is once again the winner of the 425 Business of the Year. Dr. Perongo and his world-class team begin regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. And Advanced Hair guarantees your new hair will grow, just like they did for me. Find out why Advanced Hair is the best of the best. With your free consultation, you'll receive $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
down. Spike O'Neill here. If your loved one's caregiver is planning a vacation or just needs a break, why not consider Aegis Living Respite Care? A short-term stay that provides 24/7 expert care, Aegis Living amenities, and peace of mind for you and your family. Go to aegisliving.com/spike to schedule a visit today.
Are you a homeowner, 62 or older, and realize that your Social Security and other income may not carry you through your retirement years? Have you ever thought about a reverse mortgage? Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at Tila Mortgage, a local company serving Washington residents for 30 years. And if you want to know how a reverse mortgage works or have questions like, are reverse mortgages safe? Will I still own my home? Or do I really have the option of not making monthly mortgage payments? Call Tila for a no-pressure conversation. They'll answer your questions with personalized recommendations and loan options that can safely help you improve your monthly cash flow, increase your available income, pay off debt, or make home improvements. Call Tila today. Tila, spelled T-I-L-A, is a name you could trust for truthful, honest, and ethical advice for all your mortgage needs. Call 206-766-8888. That's 206-766-8888 or
Insurance and property taxes are borrower's responsibility. Tila Mortgage LLC is a mortgage broker. NMLS 2472046.
It's a fact. When your eyes work correctly, light focuses through both your cornea and your lens to give you high-quality vision. Hi, it's Dr. Kopstein from K2 Vision. Here's another fact. As we near age 50, we begin to lose the quality and function of our natural lens. That's when we start to reach for reading glasses and contemplate those cataracts on the horizon, typically in our 70s or later, but inevitable if we get old enough. Fortunately, K2 Vision has the advanced permanent solution for both, refractive lens exchange, or RLE. K2 Vision RLE is a quick, painless procedure that restores distance and near vision permanently. Plus, another thing is permanent. You will never develop a cataract. After over 20 years replacing over 100,000 failing lenses, we will help you determine when it's your right time for RLE.
Schedule your free Zoom consult today at k2visionrle.com. K2 Vision RLE. No readers, glasses, contacts, or cataracts.
Olympic Hot Tub has terrific ways to achieve total wellness at home. Saltwater hot tubs, swim spas, saunas, and cold plunges, all waiting for you. See our current specials with exciting savings at olympichottub.com. Better you, better
Overall,
life.
how does your roof look after this winter? Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. Spring into action today. Save $3,000 on a new roof, siding, deck, or windows. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com.
Greg Tomlin and Tim Gatos in on the John Curley Show. Tim, I had the pleasure of seeing a screening last night of the new Spielberg film, Disclosure Day.
Man, Spielberg.
Get excited.
Love me some Spielberg.
This is, I believe, completes his Alien trifecta. You got Close Encounters of the Third Kind, E.T., and now Disclosure Day.
He didn't do... What about? I thought he already did.
Maybe there is another Alien one in the
one.
canon. Minority Report?
No, to the Tom Cruise one with the...
Oh my gosh, War of the Worlds.
Yeah, War of the
you're
Worlds.
right.
Yeah.
It's at least 4, and there's probably more. This is what his new film sounds like.
This 79-year terror campaign of lies has to end.
What are you going to do?
Full disclosure to the whole world.
That truth will upend all established order across the entire world. If you do this, there's no undoing it.
No! Why would they do this?
When the time is right, everything will become clear.
Whatever happens, don't you let go.
Whew. So basically the premise of the film is there's been an 80-year government cover-up. We've known about extraterrestrial life for decades, and the public can't know about it because we're already on the brink of World War III. And now if you find out there's aliens, not only will it undermine religion, but it'll also undermine world order. It's kind of reminiscent almost of a Steven Spielberg produced movie called Men in Black. Do you remember the whole premise of that movie is we know aliens live amongst us, but what's the famous quote from that? Hold on.
Humans, for the most part, don't have a clue. They don't want one or need one either.
Well, why the big secret? People are smart. They can handle it.
The person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it.
And this is basically just a more serious take. Overall, the film is really captivating. It's an immersive experience, chock full of action, one set piece after another. At times, it almost feels like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where their heroes are constantly evading danger, and it's chasing. But you're enthralled by it because Steven Spielberg is a master director. I don't know if I'd do the scale.
You wouldn't?
Lots of running and jumping and crashing and hitting. It never feels like a slog. So it's a popcorn movie. You will get your money's worth. But when it tries to do something profound with its message, and when it tries to land the plane, I felt a little bit lacking at the end. So overall, I don't know. Instead of stars, I'll give it a B, a solid B. It's a passing grade.
If this weekend I have to choose, I want to choose between Mandalorian, Pressure, that World War II movie, Michael, and Disclosure. Which one do I go to of those four?
I haven't seen Pressure. I've only seen the Michael movie and Disclosure Day. I would say Disclosure Day. It's 2.5 hours long. It does feel a little long towards the end, but you will feel like, okay, this is why we go to the movies.
Over Mandalorian.
Yeah, Star Wars, the 80th Star Wars movie. Greg Tomlin and Tim Gatos in on the John Curley Show. Let's send it on over to Nate Dogg at the Real-Time Traffic Desk.
All right, Lake Washington Windows and Doors has the update. We still have our stall North 5 on the express lanes just before Mercer in that left lane. North 5 at 130th and Northgate, a collision still takes up 2 left lanes. We're now back to bumper to Northeast 45th. Seattle to Linwood up to 45 minutes. Everett to Marysville, a 35-minute drive, and it is packed from 526 all the way to 529. We just cleared that collision near the Steamboat Slough, so this is opening up a lane for you, and things should start to improve. Bellevue to Renton, give yourself 35 minutes. You're bumper to bumper from 520 through Factoria. From there, it remains crowded all the way down into the Renton S-curves. Right now, Lake Washington Windows and Doors is giving the first 40 June signups with 5 or more windows, a free patio door, plus 12 months free financing. Visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com. KIRO News Radio, Real-Time Traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
What if you could have the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? During the Xfinity Summer Savings Event, now through June 15th, new customers can get our best price on gig Wi-Fi, just $50 a month for 5 years. And get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. It's Wi-Fi that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. Plus, add 1 line of Xfinity Mobile Select and you can save an average of $60 a month over Verizon and AT&T. You can even try it free for a year. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities during the Xfinity Summer Savings Event. Get it now at Xfinity.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Savings based on 1 gig internet and 1 mobile select line compared to similar Verizon and AT&T plans over 5 years. After 12 months, regular rates apply to mobile select. Xfinity internet required. Speeds vary. Use of fiber coaxial cable.
KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle.
I was walking my dog. I fell and ended up with 3 tears in my meniscus. I was sent to a surgeon and they said the only way to get this fixed is to have surgery. That just wasn't an option. I didn't want to jump into surgery without trying anything else.
I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic neurologist at Sound Pain Solutions. We offer Jamie an alternative to the downtime and potential risks associated with invasive knee surgery. At Sound Pain Solutions, we help patients like Jamie avoid the side effects of painkillers, cortisone injections, and pain following surgery. Our comprehensive approach includes treatments like pressure wave, PRP, and advanced laser. These treatments reduce pain and restore mobility naturally. Now Jamie is able to do everything she enjoys without pain.
I'm grateful for being able to wake up every day and not be in pain. To be able to go about my day has been amazing.
Schedule a free consultation to learn if you qualify for our non-surgical and drug-free joint treatments at soundpainsolutions.com.
Did you know that nearly half the homes in Western Washington are not properly insulated or not insulated at all? That may be the reason why your home is way too hot in the summer and way too cold in the winter. It may also be the reason that your energy bills are sky high. Right now, Insulation Northwest is offering a free inspection of your home's insulation. This is a $199 value and it's absolutely free, no obligation. Just call today and Insulation Northwest will arrange a time that works with with your schedule. We'll perform a thorough exam of your home's insulation and give you the advice you need to start saving thousands. Everyone who calls today will also receive a free infrared screening of your home using the latest technology. This will help reveal any hidden flaws in your home's protective energy blanket. What do you have to lose? It only takes about an hour and it's absolutely free. Call Insulation Northwest today, the real insulation company.
InsulationNorthwest.com. Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio. Northwest News.
For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers the professional grade products you need, delivered when and where you need them. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio. KIRO FM and HD1. Tacoma, Seattle. Northwest News.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Wayne Cabot. Explosions are reported in Iran as the U.S. retaliates for a drone attack that forced down a U.S. Apache helicopter near the Strait of Hormuz this morning in the waters off Oman. President Trump saying a short time ago, "I believe the response should be very strong, very powerful, and that's what this one is." The crew of the Apache was not hurt, but the attack raises the stakes, says ABC News military consultant Nick Mulroy.
It appears that this was a hostile act that took down the Apache helicopter. And I don't know if this was directly tied to it, but probably was, that U.S. military had to respond. So this has become a commonplace.
And just now, Iran says it will respond to the U.S. strikes. Iranian state media reporting explosions on an Iranian island in the Strait of Hormuz. Its foreign minister saying the best way for foreign forces near the strait to reduce their risk is for them to leave. This is ABC News. Air Canada grounds a pilot for not having the proper license after 27 years and hundreds of hours of flying time. Transportation officials recently detected anomalies in the license documentation for Jeffrey Wall. Authorities comparing him to a doctor who is licensed to practice family medicine, marching into a hospital to perform brain surgery. New York's exuberance over the unstoppable Knicks has been dialed back a notch because of the Spurs stopping them. After more than 40 days of the Knicks knowing nothing but winning. What's that like for Karl Anthony Towns and his team?
Competitors, every single one of us in this locker room. We want to win every single time we step on the floor. So, of course, we're going to be disappointed, but we also are professionals and understand that tomorrow we got to get back to work, get back to the drawing board, and get ready for Game 4.
Game 4 tomorrow at Madison Square Garden, and President Trump was asked if he plans to attend again, and he said that he would not. In his words, he's busy with a war. I'm Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
A Pierce County man is the latest to be arrested in connection with investigations into child exploitation. We're going to have that coming up. But first, Nate Connors has a look at your commute.
Thanks, Jillian. This one brought to us by the KIRO Newsradio App. Well, the wind is really doing a number on our commute today. Trees are down across the region. The latest is Bainbridge Island, northbound 305, just past Northeast Core Road. Trees just reported down, so details are minimal. Not sure if you're alternating at the scene or not. I am seeing quite a big backup northbound. Out in Belfair, State Route 3 near Union River Road, trees have been down for over an hour, blocking both directions of 3. And a power pole's been snapped as well, so this is going to be a long-term closure. There is a detour. Northbound on the express lanes, just before Mercer, we still have a stalled semi in your left lane. North 5 at 130th and Northgate, a collision still blocks 2 left lanes. You're now bumper to bumper at the north end of the Ship Canal Bridge. Seattle to Linwood is at 50 minutes. And Everett, we're struggling from Everett to Marysville at 35 minutes. It is packed from 526 up to 526. 529. Heavy rain is adding to this, but we also had an earlier collision near the Steamboat Slough that cleared about 10 minutes ago. Text the app to 888-973-5476 to download the KIRO News Radio app. Listen to your favorite shows and get the latest news and updates sent straight to your phone. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Jillian Raftery. Online stings have been active, netting suspects across our region in high-profile child exploitation and trafficking arrests. Now a Pierce County man is the latest to be arrested.
Last month, investigators from the Washington State Patrol Missing and Exploited Children Task Force posed as a 13-year-old girl. And they talked online with a 38-year-old man who they say wanted to meet that girl and pay her for sex. The State Patrol says this man is a registered sex offender with a prior arrest history in Arkansas. The State Patrol says he was arrested Friday as he waited in his car for what he thought would be a meeting with that 13-year-old. Frank Lindsay, KIRO News Radio.
And also in Pierce County, deputies say a suspicious situation involving kids at a South Hill apartment complex ended with an arrest Saturday night.
I got a bunch of people, more than like 2 or 3 callers right here at the apartment complex, saying that you're over there trying to get kids to play with you and like all this other stuff, and
That's
that you just
absolutely not true.
The man refused to get into a patrol car while they investigated, leading to a struggle. The 31-year-old was eventually taken into custody and booked for interfering with deputies and violating sex offender conditions. Washington aerospace companies will have roles in NASA's upcoming Artemis 3 mission to the moon. Boeing, Blue Origin, and Redmond-based L3 Harris are building systems needed for a sustained lunar presence. L3 Harris's Civil Space Director Joe Cassidy spoke with KIRO 7 TV.
We've delivered the engines already for Artemis 3. They're already ready to go for the flight next year.
Cassidy says the company is also developing electric propulsion for the Space Reactor 1 Freedom, a nuclear spacecraft slated for launch in a few years. And another big name is circling the Super Bowl champions Seahawks. Semaphore reports billionaire Todd Boehly, a member of the ownership group for the LA Dodgers, Lakers, and Sparks, is weighing a bid for the team and is talking to potential partners about teaming up. Of course, that is just a report, and we will stay on all that Seahawks news. Now we're going to check your weather forecast. Breezy weather going around, causing a few scattered outages. We are dry in the Seattle area, but we're going to have some rain around the region, drying out overnight, a high of 66 and mainly dry for your Wednesday. It is 63 degrees right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Good afternoon, Tim Gatos, Greg Tomlin in on the John Curley Show. So good to be with you on this beautiful day here, Pacific Northwest. And friends, we are about a week away from the biggest event and series of events in the history, truly, of the Pacific Northwest. The Goodwill Games of 1990, the Final Four in, 80, was that 85, 89, 84 and 89. The All-Star Game a couple times. This is 6 different events. The World Cup is coming. They're saying about 750,000 people. Of course, the eyes of the world will be on Seattle, will be on us. And a lot of people are, it's like, all right, here we go. Are we ready? Are we not ready?
Fasten your seatbelts.
Are we excited? Of course, a few years ago for the All-Star Game, you may remember, there was a lot of consternation, a little kerfuffle that, Bruce Harrell at that point, got all this cleanup in action, and we're going to do these homeless sweeps, and we're going to clean it up just for the All-Star Game. And then we'll just kind of, let it go to hell after that. And there's a lot of people are like, can we please just learn from that and let's just use this as an opportunity to get this moving forward. Although, Joe, you had said since that time, Pioneer Square has looked good since the All-Star Game. So
it has, yes. I'm a regular.
You're a regular.
I wasn't prior.
So maybe we can take that to maybe all 52 neighborhoods of Seattle and do it. But joining us right now to talk about this, the executive director of the SODO BIA, Aaron Goodman, who has Aaron, we worked on the All-Star game a few years ago, did a couple things on that, and I know you and I had conversations about, okay, are we just doing this to look good for a game? And you've learned a lot over the years. You've been doing great work. How are you feeling down in SODO? The World Cup's a week away. Are we ready?
Well, there's a point in every event when you run events where it's just going to be what it's going to be. But I think we're ready. I think that we're seeing the preparations. If you've been to the stadium, Seattle Stadium now, it's ready. And I think we've seen a lot of wayfinding. And while we're not seeing that kind of hectic action that we saw before All-Star, we have been seeing concerted, more structured work that's been going on for months. And I think that, when you have somebody over to your house and you're worried about the spot on your carpet that you're certain and they never notice it, I think that we have to remember that we're looking at the spots on our carpet and everyone else is looking at our beautiful city.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who are like, okay, there's going to be a safe zone, so to speak, right? Which would be the kind of the stadium will flood the area with police and make sure that all is well within kind of a perimeter of the stadium. I mean, you're in that zone a little bit, but then the question is, how much is that just going to spill into other neighborhoods, or maybe that's going to spill for you in SODO? Maybe it's going to just spill a little further south, past kind of the stadium district. What are you seeing on that?
Well, you don't really have control over where people move when you have an encampment remediation. But we're seeing some changes in how that happens. We also don't know the exact footprint of that safe zone. And that safe zone could change depending on the game, depending on the security needs of the game. They didn't know President Trump was going to come to that game. That changes the security profile of that game. And so what those safety zones are could change, and that could change what that, zone looks like.
Yeah.
And so I could think that we could see this be a very dynamic situation throughout the series.
So, Aaron, how are some of the main ways that businesses are preparing for the mass influx of humanity that's coming to the SODO area a mere few days from now? Is there sort of a buzz in the air around SODO? Is there cautious optimism? Are people getting ready to hold on for dear life? What's the atmosphere right now?
All of the above. You
Right.
have a combination. You have businesses that are excited to welcome guests. And, we have a lot of businesses that are participating in the local organizing committee's, app where they're encouraging folks. But SODO also has a lot of businesses that are more B2B. They're not, customer focused. They're the folks that are delivering food to restaurants and to, the Pike Place Market. And so they're really focused on how are my trucks going to get through on game days. And so we are here making sure that they have the up-to-date information on, road closures, which are going to look a lot different than they do for Mariners games or Seahawks games. And so making sure that, businesses have that information. Yeah, there are some that are like, oh my goodness, how are we going to survive? And so I think the most important part is making sure they have information and that they know what the different routes are, and then helping those that want to get in on the excitement, making sure that, folks know how to get to them and know what they're offering. And so it's pretty exciting time.
Many of the Seattle City Council members have been openly critical of Mayor Wilson and her administration regarding, of course, the cameras and how they're approaching some of the public safety issues, definitely up on Aurora. How's it been for you working with the Wilson administration? Has that been encouraging, discouraging?
We've had a very open dialogue with Mayor Wilson's administration. We've worked with them on a couple of public safety, issues here in SODO. And, we've not really seen a break in communication. You don't know what to expect when a new administration comes in. And there are some new faces. There are a lot of faces that we know from previous administrations or from other roles. And, anytime you get a new mayor, whether there's someone who has held public office or not, the administration takes some time to get up to speed. And so we expect that. But we have found this administration open to conversation, wanting to be involved. And so are we seeing some hiccups? Of course, but I expect that with any administration. We saw that with the Harrell administration. We saw that with the Durkin administration. I've been in this role a long time.
How about the Nichols administration?
I wasn't in this role, but I was in another one.
Just circling it all the way back.
Yeah, I mean, there's just any administration, you're going to see that kind of, ramp up when they figure out where their resources are. But I am in a position where I need to work with who's in office. That's my job. And it's my role to make sure that, it's on our city's best interest for our administration to function. And so I'm going to try to make sure that things work. Yeah. And I at least feel like I have someone on the other side of the phone that wants to work with me. And that's what is important to me.
Talking to Erin Goodman, Executive Director of the SODO BIA. And I know there's all of us as Seattleites, we want Seattle to show well, right? We want the world we want to show off. Obviously, we have a lot of things that have been discouraging and frustrating about what's been happening over the last, 10 years. And we certainly don't want to look like idiots and with our pants down, so to speak, right, with the world stage on us. Do you foresee that this could be a turning point? The World Cup over the next 6 weeks could actually be a turning point for our city of like, we need to move forward with a lot of these, the way we govern our city and the way that we look and how we clean up. And you just take the graffiti, for instance, right? 10 years ago, we weren't covered in graffiti. Can we move forward and be the Seattle that we've been known to be? Is that something you think could happen?
Well, I hope that this is a time where Seattle is proud of, showing itself off. And, when you get behind on basic maintenance, it's really hard to catch up. And you have to focus on the biggest things first. And so I think that is the cycle that we're in. And we have a lot of things to catch up on. And so, as we go through this, but I think that we have a lot to be proud of. And I think that, I have a feeling that some of the reviews aren't going to be positive. But I think overall, when people come to Seattle, they're looking up, they're looking out at the water, they're looking at the mountains, and they're enjoying themselves. And I think that we've done a really good job, but I don't think we should let that sit down and say, okay, we're done. I think this should be that catalyst to say, what are we doing next? We had a great Seahawks parade, so we know that we can handle a big event. I know that the Sports Commission is bidding on, the NFL draft, and that's a huge event. And so it's like, how do we continue to do these things to build our city's, prominence in hosting large events? And so this is that opportunity to say we can do this and we can do it well, but we need to stop penduluming back and forth on how we operate, and we need to come together and work together. And that's something that we really haven't done well. And I'd like to see us as a city put aside arguments that seem like petty when you really get down to it. Everybody wants to live somewhere clean and nice, and let's just figure out how we work together.
Yeah, and I guess the sticking point is how do we get there? In speaking of that, looking past the World Cup here for a moment, what would you say are the biggest hurdles facing businesses in SODO from realizing their full potential, from prospering the way they need to be, from providing jobs and bringing in the kind of revenue that they want to be? What are some of those biggest hurdles looking ahead?
The same thing they've been for the 12 years I've been here. Public safety continues to be a significant issue. Permitting and regulation, it continues to be an issue. We are hearing, that, when you can't get a permit to take down a building, when it takes, weeks, years, that is costing money. Insurance, business insurance is a really big deal because that's tied directly to public safety. The cost of running a business here is really difficult. And so we need to be focused on how do we get more businesses functioning here and how do we keep businesses here? That's really, really important because we don't want to see, you don't just need one type of business. You need a diverse mix of businesses. And we have just started to see this tip of certain types of businesses leaving, and it's concerning.
Property crime has been an issue in SoDo for some time. Where do things stand today in that regard in terms of data and also a law enforcement presence in the area?
Well, I have to say, we have a really good partnership with the South Precinct and the Seattle Police Department. It isn't worse. I mean, the worst was 21. 20 and 21, we definitely are, have made vast improvements. Under the Harrell administration, we saw a lot of improvements in public safety. That's to say, we still have a long way to go. Hiring, having full staffing of our police department is really important. We are very excited to see that the CCTV cameras will be on. We need, in a time when we don't have an adequate staffing, we need these additional tools, and we need them to be safe, and we need to make sure that all of the guardrails that were put in place by council when they authorized them are used, but we need these tools. So I'm excited to see that the mayor did make that decision. We'd like to see that program expanded into other areas of SoDo and honestly other areas of Seattle. But this is the type of things that we would like to see. SoDo has one of the highest, the annual survey that Seattle University does. SoDo has one of the highest SPD approval ratings. And I think it's because we have this strong relationship with the South Precinct, and officers are out working and doing, patrols, proactive patrols, doing CPTED, which is crime prevention through environmental design, walks with businesses, and they're doing follow-up. And I think that's really important. So I don't have data at my fingertips right now on whether it is, what the exact numbers are. It's definitely feels that the reports aren't significantly worse, and they're definitely better than they were.
Yeah. Erin Goodman, thank you so much for joining us, Executive Director of the SoDo BIA. Appreciate you taking the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Greg, it's interesting because I think I feel like I'm always in this space of, where are we? What's the appropriate approach when it comes to, we have Seattle is dying kind of narrative, right? That we're the worst thing since whatever. And then there's the flip side of like, no, nothing to see here, nothing. And
sure.
We certainly, as someone who's grown up here, lived here my whole life, I've never seen, I always bring up graffiti because I feel like that's the telltale sign of what we're willing to put up with.
It's like the broken windows theory.
Exactly. The permissiveness,
right.
and just the sheer graffiti that we've basically thrown our hands up and said, you know what, no big deal. And the thing that's interesting is like a lot of times Seattleites, they'll say, and we just heard it, like, oh, we got the Puget Sound and the mountains. Like, hey, guess what? We can't take credit for that. I'm sorry. Like, we don't get to
I'm taking credit for it.
We don't get to take credit for that. Someone else gets the credit for that, not us. But what we have done is, in a lot of ways, we've made things look so much worse in our area.
I think there exists a healthy tension at the center of it all because I'm pulled in both directions at all times too. And sometimes I'm prone to believe, oh, yeah, Seattle is dying. I see it every day, and this stuff isn't made up. And at the same time, I can grant that there has been progress made in certain areas. It's almost the same debate we have, Tim, with the whole Make America Great Again slogan. Which, well, when was America ever great? Well, the 50s was great for some people, but it wasn't great for other people. I think yes, and all things are true at the same time.
There can be multiple things true at the same time.
Yes. And so I think living with that tension is an important part of being a savvy critical thinker and not being pulled utterly and completely to one extreme while ignoring the counter narrative, which also presents some truths to it.
Right.
It's usually not an all or nothing thing at the end of the day. Greg Tomlin and Tim Gatos in on the John Curley Show. Time to send it on over to Nate Dogg at the Real Time Traffic Desk.
Thank you. KIRO Newsradio App has the update. Bainbridge Island, northbound 305. We're packed from Northeast Day Road all the way across the Agate Pass Bridge. Trees reported down in the area of Northeast Day Road. Belfair, I've been saying State Route 3 all afternoon. It's actually State Route 300 near Union River Road. If you live in the area, you knew what I meant. Trees are down there, and they're blocking both directions. A power pole has been snapped as well, so this is going to be a long-term closure while they repair the power pole. A detour is set up. We cleared our stalled semi, that is, northbound on the express lanes near Mercer. We also cleared our crash up in Northgate, North 5 and 130th, but it left you with a bumper-to-bumper backup starting in Mercer. Seattle to Linwood is up to 50 minutes. South 5 heading into Seattle jams up at 80th to I-90. It's 40 minutes from Linwood to Seattle. Everett to Marysville, 25 minutes. Your bumper-to-bumper from 526 up to 529. Heavy rain recently moved through, adding to these backups. Text app to 888-973-5476 and download the KIRO News Radio app. Listen to your favorite shows and get the latest news and updates sent straight to your phone. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, winner of 7 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards. Breaking news coverage, best newscast, excellence in writing, investigative reporting, sports reporting, hard news. Capped with a prestigious prize for overall excellence. And we thank you, our audience across the Pacific Northwest. You are the reason we strive to be the Northwest's trusted news source. KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
Hey, it's John Curley with Dr. Kopstein from K2 Vision RLE. Doc, I heard that 50% of Americans have their lenses replaced by the time they're 75.
That's exactly right, John. As we near 50, our eye's natural lens starts to become dysfunctional. If you've now added readers to your need for glasses and contacts, it's a sign the quality and function of your natural lens is fading, and it's a steady decline towards cataracts.
Don't go another 20-plus years with poor vision, hassling with contacts and readers. Do what I did. Choose a quick, painless refractive lens exchange from K2 Vision RLE and start enjoying great vision now.
Our new lens technology is truly amazing. After replacing over 100,000 lenses, we have the experience to guide each patient to their best solution, even if that's recommending you wait a little while before RLE.
K2 Vision RLE can restore distance and near vision permanently, plus never develop a cataract. Read the reviews and schedule a free Zoom consultation now at k2visionrle.com.
Always exhausted, loud snoring, keeping your partner awake? You could have sleep apnea and not even know it. South Seattle Smiles has a comfortable solution with no CPAP required. Most medical insurance accepted. Call 206-241-5533 today. SouthSeattleSmiles.com.
Whatever the heat index, stay cool this summer. Your local Bryant dealer can make sure your system is up to the task. Whether it's maintaining your current system or installing an energy-efficient Bryant Evolution cooling system with perfect Humidity Plus technology, your dealer will give you what you need to help your family beat the heat. Learn more and schedule an appointment with a factory-authorized dealer today at BryantNorthwest.com. That's BryantNorthwest.com. Bryant, whatever it takes.
You're losing your hair and you simply need a solution that works. You want the best. Modern technology, top-rated physicians, something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need world-class Dr. Perungo and his team at Advanced Hair. Advanced Hair has completely redefined hair restoration. From the experience itself to their unmatched results. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair, maybe all three like I had. Get your hair back with Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment that begins to regrow your own natural hair the very next day. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, including mine. And get this, Advanced Hair is once again the winner of the 425 Business of the Year. For your free consultation, call 425-449-8185. Right now, you'll get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Refine your hairline with the team that redefined hair restoration. That's 425-449-8185. Or for the before and afters, visit advancedhair.com.
If you've been sitting in traffic long enough to finish a podcast and question your life choices, it's time to flip your trip. Ride transit. Find a park and ride or roll past stress on a bike or scooter. Free yourself from traffic jams at flipyourtrip.org.
What if you could have the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? During the Xfinity Summer Savings Event, now through June 15th, new customers can get our best price on gig Wi-Fi, just $50 a month for 5 years. And get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. It's Wi-Fi that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. Plus, add one line of Xfinity Mobile Select and you can save an average of $60 a month over Verizon and AT&T. You can even try it free for a year. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities during the Xfinity Summer Savings Event. Get it now at Xfinity.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Savings based on 1 gig internet and 1 mobile select line compared to similar Verizon and AT&T plans over 5 years. After 12 months, regular rates apply to mobile select. Xfinity internet required. Speeds vary. Use of fiber coaxial cable.
As a social influencer, my days can be busy. 4 a.m., I hit the gym. 4:32, protein smoothie. 5:08, save time and money bundling my home and auto insurance with Progressive. Wait, if I bundle and save time, what would I do then? Just sit here and reflect? Like, why am I qualified to influence anyone? And how those weights are hollow? And half of my followers are bots.
You could save time and money bundling your home and auto when you switch to Progressive. It's one less thing to worry about during your already busy day. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Jillian Raftery. U.S. forces have begun launching self-defense strikes in response to the downing of an Apache helicopter over the Strait of Hormuz. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers reports from Washington.
ABC News Chief Washington correspondent Jonathan Karl was on the phone with President Trump just as CENTCOM announced these retaliatory attacks against Iran. The president told Karl he thinks it's, quote, very important to respond, and called the U.S. retaliatory strikes, quote, very strong and very powerful. U.S. forces Tuesday night launched what CENTCOM called self-defense strikes in response to Iran's attack on a U.S. Army Apache helicopter. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
We're getting a look at how security for Iran's soccer team will be handled with the first game starting Friday.
Iran's first match is in Los Angeles against New Zealand on June 15th. The original plan was that Iran's team would stay in Arizona, but that got changed to they will base out of Tijuana and travel to L.A. for their matches and then back to Tijuana. ABC News confirming now with officials in Mexico that 700 Mexican National Guard troops are deployed to Tijuana. They will help provide security for Iran's national soccer team, and they will help move them to the border and into the U.S. for their matches. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
In Renton, police are using a new D-drone trailer to watch the skies during the FIFA World Cup. It detects unauthorized drones, reads their ID, and locates the pilot, but it doesn't force the drones to land. Drone flights are restricted through July 21st near Boeing, the landing, and the Sounders training facility. King County prosecutors have charged a 13-year-old boy with first-degree manslaughter and unlawful possession of a firearm in the death of his 17-year-old cousin in Seattle. This was initially reported as a suicide, according to court records, but the 13-year-old's mother apparently found out her son was handling the gun when it went off and hit his cousin. We're expecting that suspect to enter a plea in court tomorrow. Now we're going to check in with Nate Connors, who has your KIRO News Radio traffic.
All right, this one brought to you by Lake Washington Windows and Doors. South 5 into Seattle, we're all jammed up from 85th to I-90. It's a 40-minute trip from Linwood to downtown. Seattle to Everett, an hour and 10 minutes, 50 just to Linwood. And we're packed from I-90 into Northgate, and then from there, it thins out pretty quickly. In fact, you're in the clear by the time you reach Linwood. Bellevue to Everett, 50 minutes, half hour to Linwood, and you're slow from I-90 to 527 in Canyon Park. Once you get into Everett, North 5, we've got heavy volumes. You're stop and go from 526 all the way to 528 now. Everett to Marysville has improved, though, to a 20-minute trip. Drivers at Medici and I-5 heading over to 529, and now that route is packed starting from Broadway into Marysville. Renton to Puyallup, 45 minutes on the Valley Freeway. We're heavy in the south end from State Route 18 into Puyallup. And Tacoma to Olympia, 50 minutes. Got a 3 to 4 mile backup through JBLM, and then more crowding between Lacey and Olympia. Right now, Lake Washington Windows and Doors is giving the first 40 June signups with 5 or more windows a free patio door plus 12 months free financing. Visit lakewashingtonwindows.com. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Rain drying out overnight to a mainly dry Wednesday with a high of 66 and a mostly sunny Thursday with a high of 72. It is 63 degrees right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Start your day with solutions, not problems. KIRO 7 pinpoint weather and real-time traffic every 10 minutes. From downpours to backups, whatever is waiting for you when you head out the door, KIRO 7 News in the Morning will get you prepared. Stay up to the minute every 10 minutes. Watch KIRO 7 News in the Morning, 4:30 to 7 a.m.
This hour brought to you by Bucky's Auto Repair.
Tim, a very disturbing story out of Bellevue. It's Greg Tallman and Tim Gatos in on the John Curley Show. So apparently there was a luxury rental home in the city of Bellevue that is now at the center of a major human trafficking investigation involving adult content platform OnlyFans. Have you followed this? So King County prosecutors have charged a 21-year-old, yes, you hear that right, 21 years old person named Nikita Tayukalo with 4 counts of second-degree human trafficking, 1 count of money laundering, 1 count of leading organized crime. If this person is punished to the full extent of the law, found guilty here, this could be up to decades in prison for these charges here. And I think the first thing that just struck me about this story was the age of the person who's being charged here, 21 years old. And apparently from my research, and by the way, my wife's algorithm on social media has just been going nuts with this story. I think this person was doing this for a long time and looked like they were living the high life and was flaunting it pretty egregiously all over the internet, would drive $100,000 cars, would flaunt cash left and right. There was multiple calls over a long period of time about this party house and underage drinking and so on and so forth, all allegedly at this point. But this person's being held at $5 million bail here. And apart from just the sensationalist aspect of this story here, it was just so alarming to me that this is a 21-year-old who's at the center of these charges, Tim.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll ask you, I'll share a couple things, but ask you why that's so surprising for you, because later we'll get into the update around Aurora Avenue. When you and I hosted Friday, we had former Seattle City Attorney Ann Davison on and talked about the march that was happening the next day, and we'll do a quick recap of that here in the next hour. But this is just a different version, right? We have one version of this up on Aurora, right? Which is I don't know how you would describe that. That's like the gritty version of human trafficking, and this is like the luxury version of human trafficking.
Or this is the future of human trafficking.
And it's remarkable because I did see like you talked about the flaunting of this 21-year-old, and he would post his daily cash output that he would receive, and he was getting $75,000, $100,000 per day
Yeah.
for trafficking these women. Of course, this person has a history of assault, strangulation, threats of violence for young women. And I mean, it's remarkable that this actually was able to survive as long. How did this happen for so long? And all the complaints and all the things that were going on that was in public view, to your point, right? Like this was being bragged about online. And it's remarkable that these women, these young gals, and I read the story of one of them and what they had to endure, the strangulation and the beatings, and it just seemed...
In the blackmail, it sounds like, if you don't do this for me, I'm going to release these pictures of you to your family and friends, and so now you're forever beholden to my every will.
Yeah, and I think it goes back, Greg, to some of the things you said earlier when we talked about the cell phone bans that Ferguson brought up, because hearing from some of these girls who are, they get manipulated over online, and they say, oh, hey, you can do this, you can do that, you can make this much money, and there's really not a sense of they're manipulated into coming into this house, and they don't think it has anything to do with trafficking. They think, maybe they're going to, take some photos and not even necessarily pornography type stuff, just, maybe in bathing suits or whatever. And then it turns into basically being enslaved to these pimps. And now they're being forced to do things that they don't want to do. But yet at the same time, they're making the kind of money that, and I don't know if they actually got the money. Maybe the pimps kept the money. But going back to your comment around the what can happen through cell phones is pretty remarkable.
And this is speculative, but I think part of the dynamic that's taking place here is a massive generational gap when it comes to wielding certain types of technology for good or for ill, as it appears it is in this case. And what I mean by that is the possibilities of the types of activities you can carry out with social media in this day and age, I don't think are fully appreciated by an older generation, 40 and 50-somethings in law enforcement, as opposed to a 21-year-old who knows exactly how to use this for his will. And so I think it's going to take some time for law enforcement to really flesh out and understand how deep some of this criminal activity and illegality goes in the social media sphere. I mean, I heard a comment the other day from a philosopher slash theologian that was being interviewed, and this is a semi-related comment, and it was something like the technology is far outpacing the ethics required to underpin it. Mm-hmm. And so I think we're coming to grips or coming to terms with just how bad it's gotten, but we're playing a lot of catch up at this point in time. The fact that this could have gone on and on and on for what it appears like for months, and the charges here being was it years?
Well, there was KIRO interviewed one girl who's now 18. She said she was first recruited into this house at 16. So
I mean, that's an outrage.
Yeah. And
that's been going on for years.
The 21-year-old would have been 19 at that point. So,
yeah, and so I think it's going to take a new generation that grew up on these tools, that are law enforcement oriented or law and order oriented, to be able to see things coming that an older generation trying to enforce the law can't see as well as a younger generation where these tools were ubiquitous from the moment they were born. Does that make sense?
Why do you think, Greg, it's interesting because we'll get into some of the Aurora conversation with
I thought that was a great analogy, by the way.
with the girls being trafficked on Aurora as well. And, we like to, here in Seattle, this region, we like to pride ourselves on, hey, we want to take care of everyone. Right? Like that's like the theme of our city and our region. Everyone belongs here, right? And that's kind of how we approach things, right? And yet we allow some of the most horrific acts against people right in front of our eyes nationally, right? The statistics show that Seattle is probably 1 or 2 when it comes to human trafficking in the nation. In the nation. And it's right in front of our eyes, and yet we allow it. And yet our kind of quote unquote philosophy, what I would call the Seattle orthodoxy, is, well, no, we care about people here. And yet we're number 1 in human trafficking. Can you square that for me, Greg?
I think it comes back to one of the themes of the show today, which is when your ideology trumps the hard facts on the ground, you just continually have your head in the sand. And you're exactly right. I mean, Aurora's been a problem for time immemorial.
But
and we all know it.
Not like this, though.
No.
Greg,
It's gotten exponentially worse.
Yeah.
I agree with you. But it's always been right under our noses. I mean, no one has any illusions about what is going on, and yet it continues to persist. I don't know if it's a backbone issue or, again, just people's values that come into direct contradiction with the results it's producing.
Yeah. What do y'all think? Let us know. 888-973-5476. 888-973-5476. That's the Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Text line, Tim Gatos, Greg Tomlin in on the John Curley Show. Let's toss it over to Nate at the real-time traffic desk. What's up, Nate?
Hey, it's busy out there. Global Credit Union has the update. We've got heavy wind, and that's bringing trees down across the region. In fact, northbound 167 through Sumner, approaching 24th Street, that right lane is blocked by downed trees. Here in Seattle, South 5, we're jammed up from 85th to I-90. Plan on a 40-minute trip from Linwood to Seattle. Seattle to Everett has improved a few minutes, an hour, 5 minutes, 45 just to Linwood, and it's packed from I-90 into Northgate. From there, you're going to thin out pretty quickly. Southbound 99, we're heavy from the zoo to the stadiums. Northbound 99 slows a bit through the downtown tunnel, and then again at Green Lake, where it's bumper to bumper from the zoo up to 85th. Seattle to Federal Way is a 45-minute drive. We're heavy from MLK Junior Way to 516. And everywhere else, for the most part, we're looking at typical backups. This report brought to you by Global Credit Union, where members enjoy no-fee accounts and early payday with direct deposit. Learn more at globalcu.org. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
You know how some parts of the house don't work? Let me explain. There's that closet that you've got that when you open it up, everything falls out. Or you try to find something, you can't because it's not working. There's too much stuff in there. And how about the garage? I know some people that can't park their car in the garage because there's everything else parked in the garage. You see what I'm saying? There might be some other parts of the house where it's just packed and there's no place to store anything. So maybe you've even gone to renting one of those storage units. Well, that adds up every single month. You can't even remember what's in there. So a better investment to get parts of those house working would be Closets by Design. The consultant comes to your house. They look at the problem. They know that each one of these problems that need to be solved have to be customized. But you don't get a big customized price. You're going to get 40% off plus an additional 15% off in 18 months, 0% financing on approved credit when paid in full. I really became a believer in Closets by Design when they came out to the barn in Cle Elum. You should see the work that they did. My goodness. 1-800-BY-DESIGN. That's 1-800-BY-DESIGN. That's closetsbydesign.com.
Hey, Jake Skorheim here. If your summer home improvement list has a new roof, siding, or a gutter upgrade, you owe it to your home to give Valentine Roofing a call. And once again, they've been awarded the best in the Pacific Northwest for roofing by the Seattle Times in 2025. And right now, qualified homeowners can take advantage of $0 down and 0% financing with 6 months deferred interest when paid in full within the promotional period. Financing subject to approved credit. Call 206 Roofing today, and remember, when you see the red Valentine van, you know your home is in good hands.
Summer's supposed to be fun. When the kids are home all day, the groceries, they add up fast. G. Scott here with a quick heads up from Safeway. There's a program called Sunbucks that gives qualifying families $120 per child for summer groceries. Some families are signed up automatically and will get a card in the mail. Others need to apply. Take a minute to check. It could really help put food on the table for your family. Head to freesummermeals.org to find out more. That's freesummermeals.org.
Your medication for enlarged prostate is working. That's what you tell yourself. You're up 3 times a night instead of 5. The urgency is manageable. The stream's not great, but it's fine. That's the problem. Fine. Enlarged prostate, or BPH, doesn't pause because the medication takes the edge off. The prostate keeps growing. The bladder keeps working harder. And over time, those changes can be harder to reverse. But surgery? Not for you, right? Aquablation is not the surgery you're picturing. It's the only ultrasound-guided, robotic-assisted therapy for enlarged prostate. Don't wait until things become unbearable. Find an Aquablation urologist near you. Call Aquablation Seattle at 206-666-2466. 206-666-2466. That's 206-666-2466. All surgical treatments carry risks and results may vary. Side effects may include urinary symptoms, mild pain, ejaculatory dysfunction, or infection. In rare cases, complications to the urethra and rectum may occur. Aquablation therapy may not be right for everyone. Talk to your urologist to learn more. Visit aquablationseattle.com.
Well, this week's First Mark Challenge victory goes to Robert. Robert, why did you call First Mark Insurance?
I heard an ad, and my wife and I had just got our policy renewals from our previous provider, and everything had gone up quite a bit, 30-40%, so I thought I'd give it a try. It was a pleasant experience, very easy. It only took a couple of days to get the good news back.
And were they able to save you money?
Yeah, we were able to save well over $1,000. Not only did we save money, our agent found that we had some gaps in coverage, and they were able to not only save money, but improve our coverage.
Well, now you can be a good friend, and you can tell everybody about it.
Well, I have. I've, in fact, passed it on to a couple of my good friends, and they're taking the challenge as well. So it's been great.
Robert did it. My family did it. Now you got to do it, and it's totally free. Go take the First Mark Challenge today. See how much they can save you and how much better your coverage will get. Maybe you could be our next First Mark Challenge victory. Just go to firstmarkinsurance.com. Firstmarkinsurance.com.
I had pain. I had numbness in my feet. That pain and that numbness just got worse and worse and worse as time went on.
This is Greg describing life with neuropathy.
I went to 5 podiatrists, tried different treatments, tried different orthotics, tried different shoes, had cortisone shots in the tops and the bottoms of my feet. Saw a neurologist. All my medical doctors said, can't help you. Live with the pain. You're not going to be able to sleep. This is your life. And then I just gave up until I found Sound Pain Solutions.
I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist at Sound Pain Solutions. Our neuropathy treatments can rehabilitate damaged nerves. We use FDA-cleared, non-surgical, drug and pain-free procedures that help neuropathy sufferers like Greg find relief.
I feel better. I mean, just feeling better is huge.
If you experience numbness, shooting or burning pains, or loss of balance, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-0025, or click soundpainsolutions.com.
This is Chris Davis with the Davis Law Group. Did you know that a pedestrian does not have to be crossing the street on a marked crosswalk to have a successful legal claim against the driver? Pedestrians can even be partially at fault for a collision and still have a valuable claim. Call us today for a free consultation or get my free book on pedestrian accident law at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com. That's Davis Law Group, better service and even better results.
With Guardian Roofing Gutters and Insulation, maintenance is the key to a long-lasting roof. Need an inspection, repair, restoration, moss removal, or just a cleanup? Call us today. Our first-time customers can save $99. Visit us at GuardianRoofing.com.
Your Seattle Mariners sit atop the American League West with a record of 35-32. Mariners baseball, they are so fun to watch. Tim, do you have Mariners fever yet? Is it too early? We're not even in the month of July here. Here's the reason I'm excited about this team is that I think they have an identity that's forming. And I have very fond recollections of the 95 Refuse to Lose season and the personalities on that team, the Joey Coras, the Alex Rodriguez, Griffey, Edgar. You had the big unit and just these guys that made an indelible impression on me that all had very distinctive personalities and ways they approached the game. And I think we have similar dynamics here with players on this roster. You got the big dumper, Julio Rodriguez, the face of the franchise, Colt Emerson, who's our top prospect. You got the wily vets and J.P. Crawford and Victor Robles, a bit of a bad boy and Josh Naylor. And I feel these vibes coming back of like, this is a team that could go down in the annals of Mariners history and be remembered some 10, 20 years from now. Of course, that's all dependent on what they do September, October. I'm just saying, I got a feeling.
4 of those guys you just mentioned are on the injured list right now.
There's that. Dang. But it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
Right? We're number 1 right now.
But we're about to get Cal back. I don't know if you saw today. He was in Tacoma, right, on his rehab assignment.
Hit a dinger today.
2. And he literally hit his first one he hit, went into the Tacoma School District property.
Take that, Tacoma Schools.
Which was next door. I mean, I haven't seen the stat cast on it to see how many feet it was, but it was a bomb.
Okay, and apart from those being on injury reserve, what about Munoz? Is it time we talked about our closer who sits at 10 saves but 5 blown saves currently and a 5.18 ERA? Is it too early to make a judgment on this and be worried? Or is now the time you start talking about, hey, do we need to put Matt Brash in as a closer or Bizzardo? Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, you got to get Munoz right? I mean, if a lot of our success is going to depend on Munoz being Munoz. And so you need him, we already know what he can do, right? So we just need him to get back to that. I mean, being a closer, it's like being a president, right? Oh, there's only a few people who can tell you what it's like to be president.
You're cut from a different cloth.
Right?
Yeah.
To be a closer, to come in and protect a 1-run lead, 50,000 people watching. I mean, there's definitely, some psychological things going on there. But I tell you, we need Munoz. I mean, I like how Dan Wilson approaches this. And, if it means, we work through some of the dynamics now.
That could be a plus for later, right?
And maybe, there's some speed bumps along the way, but that gets him right versus pulling the plug now. Because if you pull the plug on him, there's no guarantee that a closer. There's no guarantee a closer can be a closer. You don't know if Brash can be a closer. He's not a closer. We don't know that. We know Munoz has been one of the best closers in the history of the game. Mm-hmm. We know that. We just need him to get back to it, right?
It's Greg Tomlin and Tim Gatosin on the John Curley Show. I guess we like sports and we don't care who knows, from shooting hoops to the Super Bowl. Let's send it on over to the real-time traffic desk and Nate Dogg.
Yes, sir. Seattle Sports has the update. We have a windy commute this afternoon, and it's bringing trees down. State Route 300 near Union River Road out there in Belfair. We've had trees down for about 2 hours now, blocking both directions of State Route 300. A power pole was snapped in the meantime, in the mix of this, so a detour is set up, and this will be a long-term closure. We have a wind advisory in effect over the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. Southbound 167 through Pacific, approaching just past 24th. The right lane is blocked by a downed tree, and this is right in the middle of a thick backup between State Route 18 and Sumner. Renton to Puyallup on the Valley Freeway, a 45-minute commute. Tacoma to Olympia, we're pushing an hour at 55 minutes. Here in Seattle, South 5 jams up at 80th to I-90, and Seattle to Everett is down to a 1-hour commute. Download the Seattle Sports app to stay in the know with the latest news, scores, and opinions about your favorite teams. KIRO Newsradio Real-Time Traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Choke Points with Chris Sullivan.
With Choke Points, we try to answer listeners' questions. It can be as simple as a neighborhood stop sign, or it can be as big as the budget for transportation. I don't care. I'll find the answer for you. It's really easy to get a hold of me at mynorthwest.com. We have a direct link there that gets right to me. You can also do it in the app. You can hit me up on the text line.
Choke Points, presented by Carter Subaru. Tuesdays and Thursdays on KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM.
Are you in pain? Have you considered surgery or even joint replacement? Hi, everybody. It's John Curley. Before you make that decision, I recommend you see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. I did, and it's been a game changer. My doctor took a look at my x-rays and said, well, looks like you need a whole new hip. And then he said, wait, how old are you? And I told him, and then he said, well, wait, you're too young for a hip. You're just going to have to, live with the pain. We'll see you in 3 years. It was horrible. Dr. Wagner is a board-certified Seattle physician with over 30 years of experience performing more than 20,000 stem cell procedures using a person's own stem cells to regenerate cartilage in their own joints. People with severe osteoarthritis, even bone on bone, are back doing what they enjoy doing without pain and without surgery. So whether it's a hip like I had or a shoulder, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before choosing surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first. Go to drmarkwagnermd.com.
Progressive knows you think the grass is always greener, like maybe you ride a motorcycle. But today, it's raining. So you wish you had an RV, but if you did, you'd have to listen to some guy parked next to it at a campsite plays acoustic guitar. Now, before you start wishing you had a boat, remember, your brother-in-law would invite himself every weekend.
Permission to come aboard, Captain?
But one thing that is greener is the money you could save when you bundle your RV, boat, or motorcycle with your home or auto with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Olympic Hot Tub has terrific ways to achieve total wellness at home. Saltwater hot tubs, swim spas, saunas, and cold plunges, all waiting for you. See our current specials with exciting savings at olympichottub.com. Better you, better life.
Sully here, and you know I've talked to a lot of businesses over the years, but the folks at Buc-ee's, they're the real deal. For over 50 years, they've treated neighbors like family with honest pricing, expert service, and repairs done right, guaranteed. They've also earned a Carfax Preferred designation. That means you get detailed updates, service reminders, and your full repair history right at your fingertips. 16 family-owned locations, no appointment needed, and easy financing. Visit Buc-ee's.com today and drive with confidence.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Holy smokes! The On Cruise Adventures Rick Riz Show.
What happened at the ballpark yesterday?
Sparky's sitting on my scorebook here, my cat.
Friday mornings at 8:15 on Seattle's Morning News.
Always exhausted, loud snoring, keeping your partner awake? You could have sleep apnea and not even know it. South Seattle Smiles has a comfortable solution with no CPAP required. Most medical insurance accepted. Call 206-241-5533 today. SouthSeattleSmiles.com.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. Retaliation. The U.S. striking Iran after the downing of an American helicopter near the Strait of Hormuz, calling the strike self-defense. President Trump had vowed that the U.S. must respond, risking the fragile ceasefire. ABC News contributor and former Defense Department official Mick Mulroy.
You have to have deterrence, and deterrence, especially in this context, requires a military response. It'll have to be up to the Iran whether they will retaliate and escalate this even further.
The House today passing the $70 billion immigration enforcement bill. The measure funds immigration, customs, and border protection for the remainder of President Trump's term. And that bill now heads to the president's desk, where he's expected to sign it. A Texas teenager has been convicted of murder following a deadly stabbing at a high school track meet. Carmelo Anthony now faces between 5 and 99 years in prison. The jury found him guilty in the murder of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. This is ABC News. A couple in Mammoth, California are recovering along with their dogs after a bear attack in the popular mountain community.
Mammoth police say they got a call at around 6 in the morning on Monday of a bear attack. When they arrived on scene, they found a man and woman badly hurt along with their dogs. They learned a woman heard her dogs barking and saw a black bear fighting one of her dogs outside their home. As she tried to stop the bear and dog fight, the bear turned on her, biting and clawing her. The man came outside with a hatchet and used a blunt end of it to strike the bear, critically injuring it and stopping the attack. The couple has significant injuries, and the bear was found badly injured and was euthanized. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Just in time for beach season, the FDA has approved a new sunscreen ingredient for the U.S. market. The FDA says bimotrizonol meets agency standards for sun protection with minimal skin irritation. It's the first new sunscreen that the FDA has approved in 25 years. Dave Packer, ABC News.
We have an update in an arson at a Walmart that went viral in Renton. We're going to tell you that in just a moment. But first, Nate Connors has your KIRO News Radio real-time traffic.
Thanks, Jillian. KIRO Newsradio app has the update. Seattle to Everett and Bellevue to Everett are both 1-hour commutes. I-5, we're packed from I-90 all the way into Mount Lake Terrace. And then things are going to thin out real quickly for you. On the east side, 405, heavy from South Bellevue into Canyon Park. Everett to Marysville is struggling this afternoon at 25 minutes. We're heavy from 526 all the way to 529. This is one of our few areas today that have been hit with heavy rain. In Pacific, southbound 167 just past 24th. That right lane is blocked by downed trees, and this is in the middle of a bumper-to-bumper backup from State Route 18 into Sumner. Renton to Puyallup on the Valley Freeway is at 45 minutes. South 5 heading into Seattle is packed from 80th to I-90, 40 minutes from Linwood to Seattle. Seattle to Federal Way is at 45 minutes. Bellevue to Renton, a 40-minute trip. Text app to 888-973-5476 and download the KIRO News Radio app. There you can listen to your favorite shows, get the latest news and updates sent straight to your phone. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle. KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
A Pierce County man has been arrested in connection with an undercover investigation into child exploitation and human trafficking, the latest in a string of arrests. Last month, investigators say they posed as a 13-year-old girl and communicated online with 38-year-old Mark Quirkus S. Gant, who they say wanted to meet that girl and pay her for sex. WSP Detective Sergeant Jason Greer says Gant is a registered sex offender with a criminal history in Arkansas.
He had been previously arrested for an incident where there was some sort of sexual misconduct with a 5-year-old child.
Among the charges he faces now, attempted rape of a child in the second degree. Because of his criminal history, if he is convicted of that charge, he could get life in prison without parole. It was all over social media at the end of last week, a video showing a rack of bras up in smoke at a Walmart in Renton. Police have now released photos of that suspect. We have pictures of them that we're going to put up in mynorthwest.com. Investigators believe that person drove up in a white Cadillac Escalade, went directly to the women's lingerie section where they set the whole rack on fire. In-store videos shows them crouching in that area, then walking away and driving away. If you have any information, call Renton Police. The first of dozens of touchscreen information kiosks went live today in downtown Seattle.
Seattle's a tech town, and we finally have a 21st century modern wayfinding system.
That's John Scholes with the Downtown Seattle Association. The kiosk at First and Pike operates like a smartphone. You can touch icons to open information about nearby dining, transit, and more. Scholes says it's just good luck that the first round of a planned 50 kiosks is opening as World Cup visitors arrive. Now we're going to check in with your outages. We've had breezy weather this afternoon, and it's knocked some tree limbs out. PSE is down to about 4,600 outages scattered around the region, and Snohomish PUD is down to 1,800. So good work, all those crews. Now we're going to check your weather as well. And rain decreasing through the evening, mainly dry on Wednesday with a high of 66. It is 63 degrees right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Tim Gatos, Greg Tomlin in on the John Curley Show. Thanks for being with us. One of our amazing listeners texted in. We're talking earlier about the World Cup being one of the biggest event ever. They said, what about the Seattle Center? I mean, the Seattle
World's Fair.
World's Fair.
Yeah, much more lasting impact.
Yeah,
we got that orange needle,
and that's I think that's a legitimate. I think it's a legitimate question for sure. I think that's fair.
Yeah, but they should have built a monorail and a skyscraper for the World's Fair. Maybe
Elvis was here for that too.
That's
I think.
Right.
Hey, if you were here listening on Friday, Greg and I were here as well. We had former Seattle City Attorney Ann Davison, as well as Jake, one of the neighbors up on Aurora Avenue, to talk about the march that was going to happen on Saturday. And really, this is one of the most egregious things happening in our city right now, to see these gunfights between pimps that are happening just about every night in our city. And we talked earlier about the sort of human trafficking that we allow. And it's just something that I think we all agree we're better than this. We got to do something about it. And on Saturday, they had the march. They had at least 300 people who came out in the evening on Aurora, which I think was pretty cool, to wave their signs and say, you know what, we need to stop the bullets. We got to stop the trafficking. And we had a number of former city leaders and current city leaders who came out there. One of those former council members who came was former District 5 council member Kathy Moore. And it was interesting because in a couple of the interviews that some of the neighbors were giving up there, they actually said, we miss Kathy Moore. Why? She left us. Why did she leave us? And Kathy is here with us right now. So I just want to, just start off with that, Kathy, that a number of the neighbors just said, hey, we appreciate the work that you did, and they miss you and the work that you did to help clean up Aurora and that kind of thing. Anyways, we want to welcome you, and also just ask you, what do you think of the march on Saturday? Share us your reaction to that.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Yeah, I miss everybody as well. I'm really sad that health reasons made me step down prematurely, and I had some family issues as well. But I was just so impressed at the number of people that showed up. I've been encouraging people to come out in force, both up in the neighborhood and also down at council, because that's the kind of grassroots pressure that our local government responds to, and supposedly our mayor says she will respond to. So it was really encouraging. At the same time, it was also really disheartening that it has taken this level of violence and placing the lives of infants at risk, as well as all the other people that live there, to even get this kind of response from having a few elected officials show up. But even the mayor wasn't there, which was deeply disappointing. So it was encouraging. I know that they did their best to get the word out, but in reading on Nextdoor and other media, there were a lot of people who said, if I had known, I would have been there. So I think it could have drawn an even larger crowd if more people had known about it, because there's tremendous support, not only in District 5, but I think across the city, against this sort of tolerance of gun violence and human trafficking. Yeah. You're no longer, as we talked about, an elected official. And sometimes, not that you did this, but there's obviously a tendency to, be judicious with thoughts and, what we really think when it comes to certain issues. And perhaps you could be, you could communicate to us and to the listeners, why do you think Seattle allows this? I mean, when we see the videos of nightly gunfights, we see what's happening on our streets, which everyone would agree is not right. Why does Seattle put up with this? Frankly, I don't really know the answer to that. I think that part of the reason is that we, as a city, try to view ourselves as compassionate and as progressive. But unfortunately, I think that we let that desire get in the way of being realistic and being willing to make tough decisions and actually enforce the law. And I think during COVID, we lost our direction. We lost a lot of police officers. We lost the will to, and partly it was necessary because of the emergency that COVID presented to us, but we really lost the habit of looking at problem solving and using law enforcement as a way to do so. And I think that truthfully, some of the organizations that claim to be supportive of women who are survivors and trafficked have a particular ideological position that many of these women are out there voluntarily, that it's an act of autonomy and empowerment and the height of feminism. And to me, that's an intensely misguided view of what it means to be autonomous and a feminist. Economic oppression is not freedom. So I think it's a variety of those reasons.
Yeah. So Kathy Moore, if you were queen for a day, if you had a magic wand to wave over this issue and the abundance of crime and what's going on with the pimp wars and shootings on a regular basis, what would you do tomorrow, or what could be done tomorrow to begin to really kind of solve this issue that's within, the mayor's power, the council's power? What's the number one thing that needs to be done first in order to start to solve this?
Sure. The number one thing that could happen tomorrow is to close the streets. They need to close 102nd, 98th, and 97th, and there are a number of hotspot streets. We had a pilot project that was approved by former Mayor Harrell. It was supposed to be implemented. SDOT, for political reasons, decided not to implement it in 2025. I was begging for them to do that when I left office. They don't need to do any more studying. That pilot project was run past SPD and fire department. So the first thing that should happen tomorrow is that they close the streets. And I see the council president Hollingsworth has called for that to happen. The next thing that needs to happen is that we need to give our officers permission to actually approach the women and begin to have conversations with them about getting them off the street and doing the work of diversion. They've not been given the permission to do that. The next thing that they also need is officers to have permission to not only just arrest Johns who are engaged in the actual act of sex, but part of the law that I was responsible for writing and passing allows Johns to be arrested for loitering. So that's the circling and the stopping and the speaking and negotiation of the price. That behavior has been criminalized, and the police have the ability to arrest on that basis, or to at least go up and begin to question Johns about what they're doing. And it's that intervention that I think is important, because it makes it, right now it's comfortable to be up there. We know there's no consequences. It's advertised as being consequence free. If you're up there and the police are bugging you, harassing you, questioning you, talking to the women, you're not going to want to continue to come up there. And that could happen tomorrow.
We're talking to former Seattle City Council member, District 5, Kathy Moore. And Kathy, when we talked to some of the neighbors on Friday, they basically said, and they have a name for the current city council member, and they call her Deborah Whereas, because they have no idea where she is, and they've asked to get assistance and help. And that's a little surprising. Why do you think the current city council member is not an advocate and not showing up and not present for something as monumental as this issue is?
I don't really want to venture there. What I do know is that Councilmember Juarez she is sponsoring a bill with Councilmember Lynn that would make it very clear that SDOT, if directed by SPD, has the authority to actually close streets. So my sense is that her interest is in working behind the scenes and trying to create legislation that would make the street closure happen. Although I would note, and I said this at my council testimony, the mayor has the ability as an emergency measure for public safety reasons to shut down those streets tonight. So the legislation is not necessarily necessary. So I'll leave my colleague to answer that question.
Are you are you helping out a little more now? Like what's kind of your role right now? Are you thinking? I don't want to assume that perhaps that you're in a position where like, hey, I want to kind of jump back in and maybe help behind the scenes. But what's your thoughts right now?
Well, I had really stayed out of it, all of city government, but a couple of people reached out to me to make me aware of what was happening, and it is an issue that I feel very, very strongly about. And seeing that the gun violence has escalated again to the levels, and I think perhaps even surpassing the levels that we saw in 24, which was what generated the legislation. I have been talking to people behind the scenes, providing some suggestions, talking about where I think certain suggestions that have been offered by the city attorney perhaps may not work, and why they wouldn't work, and why what we have in place actually can work and should work if we just had the political will to do it. So I'm trying to be helpful to the extent that I can, sort of behind the scenes.
What's next in terms of directing efforts towards bringing back public safety to this community in North Seattle? So there's a big march over the weekend in an effort to raise more awareness and keep this at the forefront here, and have people talking about it and get city leaders' attention. But in terms of like real concise efforts, where does this go from here? And is there a game plan to try to get an increase in response from city leaders and real concrete action on this? Or, dare I say, was that the pinnacle, this big march over the weekend? Where does it go from here?
I don't know the answer. As I said, I've been sort of involved on the sidelines a bit. Jake, who you had on, and other neighbors, Andrew, some other people, they are really the ones leading. This is truly a grassroots neighborhood-led movement. They're the ones who are really moving this forward with, seeking some guidance from myself and Davidson, other people who've worked on this issue. Councilmember Kettle, I know they're in consultation with him. So I think the goal is to try to get our city attorney to respond and answer why she will not enforce soap orders, why they are not arresting pimps. I think the goal is to continue with the momentum.
You mentioned our current city attorney, Erica Evans, and she was at the march. When I saw the feed of that, I was pleasantly surprised. And did you have conversation with her? Did you guys talk about this at all at the march?
No, we did not. I too was pleasantly surprised. I thought, it took courage to be there, and I appreciated that she was there. I did not have an opportunity to speak with her. I noticed she was speaking with Councilmember Kettle and some other people, and I think with Jake. So, the people that are in a position to make something happen directly. But I do have some concerns about her suggestion about using extreme risk protection orders as a way of removing guns. It's never been tried. Basically, my opinion is the grounds that you could use to remove a firearm from a pimp basically gives you probable cause to arrest them for unlawful possession of a firearm. And we'd be better off arresting them. And at the same time, you can get an order to remove firearms. And then there are criminal penalties for failure to comply. Because what we're really trying to do is create interruption and disruption to a organized criminal enterprise, which involves guns, sex trade, and drugs.
Kathy, if I could ask you a more general question in the time we have left with you here. Sometimes when people leave their seat of public office, they can be a little more unfiltered or a little more forthcoming and a little less diplomatic speak, given their roles inside or outside of government. I'm curious as to your time of service. How did you view the way that the city council was functioning? Was it firing on all cylinders, or did you see more dysfunction? Is there anything you can illuminate for us in terms of the way it operated? Did you feel like it was a healthy operation, or full of difficulty and adversity and more troubling?
I think we operated pretty well. we had our differences. We were all independently elected, and so we all came with a particular point of view and a particular constituency in which to represent. And also, frankly, we were a reaction to the previous many councils, and it takes a while to find your way and to land on your feet. And so I think there were a few sort of growing pains, and we had a lot of turnover with Councilmember Mosqueda leaving, and Councilmember Morales leaving. So it was hard to sort of get into that groove. But overall, I thought for the most part we worked well together. And it's interesting to me now that we see other commentators in the Seattle Times talking about how it's important to look at what's working and be prepared to admit when it's not working and change gears. And it's all about creating good governance and public service, which is exactly what we were trying to do. And yet we were often criticized for that. So it's been interesting to see how
perception versus reality.
Yeah, kind of the label that people put on you affects how they view the work that, in fact, we were really just trying to provide public service to our constituents in the city of Seattle. And that's one thing that just makes me so upset and distraught that we have a very important community up along Aurora. These are not, I'm going to say it, these are not Laurelhurst neighbors. These are working class individuals, many students, many nurses, teachers, baristas, many renters, people who are trying to move the neighborhood along because it has been such a difficult neighborhood for so long. And they're treated as if they are somehow overly entitled. And yet they're just asking to be able to live in the city and be able to live their lives, raise their families, contribute to the neighborhood, grow a better Aurora. But they need to have the most basic thing that the local government is charged with doing, which is public safety.
Yeah.
And that message does not seem to be heard. And I'm really troubled by why that is, because we wouldn't allow that in Laurelhurst or Madison Park.
Yeah. There's an election coming up in District 5 for City Council. Are you endorsing anyone?
I'm not. I think it's best for the voters to make their own decision.
Yeah. Former Seattle City Council member Kathy Moore. Hey, appreciate you joining us on the program today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right. Tim Gatos, Greg Tomlin in on the John Curley Show. We got to toss it over to the Nate Dog at the real-time traffic desk.
Yes, sir. KIRO Newsradio App has the update. Seattle to Everett and Bellevue to Everett, right around 1 hour commutes. I-5 is still packed from I-90 here in downtown Seattle up into Mount Lake Terrace, and then things clear out pretty quickly for you. 405 is heavy from mid-Bellevue into Canyon Park. If you're heading out through Maltby, eastbound 522 is jam-packed from northeast 195th there in Woodinville out to Paradise Lake Road, where it looks like we might have a new collision. Unfortunately, my camera is out of commission this afternoon right at that intersection, so I'm not able to see what the situation is. But there is also a 1 mile bumper-to-bumper backup on Paradise Lake Road heading to 522. So we've got something going on there. Here in Seattle, South 5, we're packed from Northgate to I-90. Linwood to Seattle has climbed to 50 minutes. That's double the norm. Bellevue to Renton plan on 35 minutes. We're bumper to bumper from 520 to Cold Creek Parkway. And Renton to Puyallup on the Valley Freeways at 45 minutes. The north end's looking pretty good. It is bumper to bumper from State Route 18 into Puyallup. We did clear those down trees near 24th Street in Pacific. Text app, APP, to 888-973-5476 and download the KIRO News Radio app. Listen to your favorite shows and get the latest news and updates sent straight to your phone. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, winner of 7 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards. Breaking news coverage, best newscast, excellence in writing, investigative reporting, sports reporting, hard news. Capped with a prestigious prize for overall excellence. And we thank you, our audience across the Pacific Northwest. You are the reason we strive to be the Northwest's trusted news source. KIRO News Radio. 97.3 FM.
You could sleep through the night without thinking twice. You could take a seat in the middle of the theater. You could drive without worry of where the next restroom is. You used to say yes, and somewhere along the way, you stopped. Not because of one big moment, because of 100 small ones. A little more urgency, one more trip to the bathroom at 2 a.m., one more mental note about where the restroom is. It happened slowly enough that it just became you. But it's not you. It's enlarged prostate, and there's a treatment called aquablation therapy, the only ultrasound-guided robotic-assisted therapy for enlarged prostate. Find an aquablation therapist near you. Call Aquablation Seattle at 206-666-2466. 206-666-2466. That's 206-666-2466. All surgical treatments carry risks, and results may vary. Side effects may include urinary symptoms, mild pain, ejaculatory dysfunction, or infection. In rare cases, complications to the urethra and rectum may occur. Aquablation therapy may not be right for everyone. Talk to your urologist to learn more. Visit aquablationseattle.com.
If you're hurt in a car accident, call Harold Car Law Offices right away. They'll save you time and get you more money from insurance while you're able to focus on recovering. Visit carlaw.com. 2 R's in car. Car accident? Call CAR.
Hey, John, why don't you tell everybody why you started going to Longevity Medical Clinic?
No, I don't want to do that. I can tell you, I started going to Longevity Medical Clinic before I started doing these commercials, but that why I went is not important.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Okay. I'll tell you. I was a Sammamish City Council member, and whenever they had asked me to do the Pledge of Allegiance, I couldn't make it through the whole thing without crying. I know, it's so dumb. I mean, I know I'm patriotic, but what the heck? So I go into Longevity Medical Clinic, and I explained this to them, that there's something wrong with my hormones or something, and they see the testosterone and the estrogen are all out of balance. We balance all that stuff, and I can do the Pledge of Allegiance without crying. But I've also noticed that I deal with stress a lot better, don't I?
Yes, you're a lot easier to live with because you're getting more sleep, you have more energy, you're better organized, and I'm not helping you look for your car keys every morning.
Right, because now I've taken the steps to take care of my mind and body. I strongly recommend anybody get the free health analysis at lmclinic.com. That's lmclinic.com.
Hey, Brock Ewart here with my buddy Dave Taylor from First Mark Insurance. You know, Dave, I love sport. You love sport. And I love sitting with coaches and hearing their game plan each and every week. What are the keys to a First Mark Insurance game plan?
It's a great question, Brock. I think there's really 3 keys to a great game plan with us. Number 1 is we want to make sure that our clients have the correct coverage for their unique specific needs. So that's number 1. Do you have the right coverage? Number 2, once we have the right coverage, are we getting that coverage at the most competitive price possible? And then last and not least would be, once we have the right coverage at the most competitive price, are we providing world-class service to those customers so that when they need it, they have someone there that's got their back?
Those are the 3 keys to a First Mark Challenge victory. And man, am I so glad Molly and I took the challenge. We are one of so many through a decade plus of being a First Mark Challenge victory. You can too. Just simply go to firstmarkinsurance.com. Firstmarkinsurance.com.
Spike O'Neill here. If your loved one's caregiver is planning a vacation or just needs a break, why not consider Aegis Living Respite Care? A short-term stay that provides 24/7 expert care, Aegis Living amenities, and peace of mind for you and your family. Go to aegisliving.com/spike to schedule a visit today.
Hey, how's your money situation? Are you ready for retirement? Well, if you want to know what the pros are doing to make wealth multiply and retire like royalty, then you need to listen to this show, Sound Path Through Retirement, with Ben Koval and Matt Leibarger. Get your money right and tune in every weekend, Saturdays at 10 a.m. and noon on KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
Hey, Jake Skorheim here. Summer means I have a laundry list of exterior home improvements to tackle and no time to do it. Fortunately, the team in the red van has me covered. And of course, I'm talking about Valentine Roofing, the pros that keep me off extension ladders and precarious positions. If your summer home improvement list has a new roof, siding, or a gutter upgrade, you owe it to your home to give Valentine Roofing a call. Once again, they've been awarded the 2025 Best in the Pacific Northwest Awards for Roofing by the Seattle Times. And it really comes down to 2 things: the best product backed by a lifetime warranty and exceptional customer service. They call that the Valentine experience. It's seamless communication, meticulous cleanup, and extra mile service. And right now, qualified homeowners can take advantage of $0 down, 0% financing with 6 months deferred interest when paid in full within the promotional period. Financing subject to approved credit. Call 206 Roofing to schedule your free estimate today. That's 206 Roofing. And remember, when you see the red Valentine van, you know your home is in good hands.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good evening. I'm Jillian Raftery. President Donald Trump insists the U.S. retaliation on Iran's downing an Apache helicopter overnight will not restart the war. ABC Chief Washington correspondent Jonathan Karl spoke with the president this afternoon.
The president made it clear to me that these U.S. strikes on Iran are specifically in response to Iran's downing of that Apache helicopter. He brought up the peace deal that he is trying to negotiate with the Iranians. It seemed clear to me that even as he was ordering U.S. attacks on Iran, he still believes he can get a peace deal with the Iranians.
Here at home, a 13-year-old now faces felony charges in the death of his 17-year-old cousin in Seattle. New court documents reveal it was initially reported as a suicide, but the boy's mother pressed him, and investigators say she found out her son had been holding the gun when it went off. She coordinated his surrender to law enforcement. Now he faces charges including manslaughter and unlawful possession of a firearm. It's not clear where that gun came from. He's expected to give a plea in court tomorrow. Washington Governor Bob Ferguson came out for statewide school cell phone bans today. Now, new research shows some of the effects, as we hear from ABC's Bethany Braun Silva.
The largest study to date found that while restrictions dramatically reduce phone use during the school day, improvements in test scores and attendance are less immediate. Still, educators say phone-free classrooms feel different. Teachers in New York, which recently marked 1 year under a statewide ban, reported fewer distractions, stronger student engagement, and more face-to-face interaction among students. Researchers say the long-term academic impact of cell phone bans may take years to fully understand. Bethany Braun Silva, ABC News, New York.
More layoffs in Washington, this time at Expeditors International. The Bellevue headquartered company is eliminating 230 jobs, affecting workers in Seattle, Federal Way, Linwood, and Factoria. Expeditors, which describes itself as a Fortune 500 service-based logistics company, says the cuts are tied to a restructuring of its global tech department. Now we're going to check in with Nate Connors, who always has your latest traffic.
All right, up in Everett, North 5, we're packed from 526 to 529. Plan on 25 minutes between Everett and Marysville this afternoon. That's about a 15-minute delay. If you're heading through Moltby, eastbound 522 gets jammed up in Woodinville near 195th out toward Paradise Lake Road. It looks like we've got a collision there. I have yet to confirm this, but there's a solid 1 mile backup on Paradise Lake Road alone heading to 522. South 5 heading into Seattle, we're packed from Northgate to I-90. Seattle to, Linwood to Seattle has climbed to 50 minutes. That is double the norm. Bellevue to Renton, plan on 35 minutes. You're bumper to bumper through Bellevue. You'll clear out after Coal Creek Parkway. Seattle to Federal Way, a half hour. We're slow from the Duwamish Curve down to 516. Renton to Puyallup on the Valley Freeways at 45 minutes. And Tacoma to Olympia, also a 45-minute drive. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
We are going to dry out overnight for a mostly sunny day for your Wednesday with a high of 72 by Thursday. We are 60 degrees right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This hour brought to you by Wilcox Family Farm Eggs.
Greg Tallman and Tim Gatos in on the John Curley Show. Tim, the aim of every political constitution is, or ought to be, first to obtain for rulers men who possess most wisdom to discern and most virtue to pursue the common good of the society. Or so said James Madison in Federalist 57.
Gosh. I'm seriously, I'm so impressed.
Have you read the Federalist Papers recently?
It's been not since the late 80s.
My wife and I read them together every night, just one at a time. And romance ensues. Which brings us to Graham Plattner. Who is Graham Plattner? Candidate for the Democratic nomination in the 2026 U.S. Senate election in Maine. Today is primary day. It's not exactly Super Tuesday, but there are primaries going on in Maine, South Carolina, Nevada, and North Dakota. Perhaps the most consequential primary is this one in Maine, because if Graham Plattner wins today and he challenges Susan Collins in November and wins, it could tip the scales of power in the U.S. Senate to go the Democrats' way. But what is fascinating about this is that Graham Plattner allegedly is not so great of a guy. There's allegations surrounding him involving his treatment of women. There's sexting scandals that surround him. He has a controversial tattoo that critics say resemble an SS or Nazi symbol. Hello. He's made past online comments that are incendiary, inflammatory, Tim. And there's questions about his judgment and temperament. All that being said, the powers that be in the Democratic Party, they're kind of holding their nose and going, yeah, he's our guy, because this could, again, tip the scales of power in the United States Senate on Capitol Hill. So I find this quite fascinating because a lot of the strongest, most outspoken voices in the Democratic Party against Donald Trump because of his character now are sort of saying, yeah, we know our guy has a lot of problematic issues, but he's our guy, so we're going to look the other way on those things. Now, when I brought this topic up in our pre-show meeting, you sort of thought this whole conversation about character in politics and virtue in politics, as James Madison alluded to in Federalist 57, are kind of tired and worn out a little bit, or there's some things that are just axiomatic that we all believe are true, so why do we need to hash it out? And I don't know. I think things really changed in 1998 with the Monica Lewinsky scandal, where character had been sort of more central to our discussions about attributes that we look for in our political leaders. And in the last 30 years, I think it's become more and more irrelevant. And my main point would be, should it be becoming more and more irrelevant? The personal virtue of our leaders in office or vying for office.
You wanted to have this in this short of a segment, Greg?
I do. You got 2 minutes. You have the floor, Tim.
I think this is true. I mean, across the board in a lot of things, not just political leaders, right? I mean, you could substitute this for church leaders and a lot of
business leaders,
different things. Yeah. Because, it's interesting when we find, I think in a lot of ways, and just kind of, I don't know if I hate to stereotype, because I don't like when people generalize. I'm not a big fan of big generalizations. Sometimes you have to do shorthand for certain things in a 3-minute segment. But I think mainstream culture in a lot of ways, when someone feels like speaks for us and they kind of hold maybe what our values are, then feels like we're gonna hold on to them in a lot of ways that we normally wouldn't, and we're willing, I think, to compromise because it allows us to feel better about ourselves and kind of what we believe or what we value. You see this in a lot of things. I mean, not to. Oh man, when you think of some of the heroes we've even held up over the last 10 years,
sure,
in America, people we've put up statues for, it's like, we're going to put a statue up for that person, right? Like, certain cultures will put up certain heroes. It's like, really, is that person the epitome of character and virtue? No. Mm-hmm. In fact, if we look at over the last 20 years of American history, the people that we've held up as leaders are the antithesis of character and virtue. And I think Americans are, I think, willing to overlook that if they buy into what I believe in
terms of policy,
ideology,
getting things done,
religion, those things.
Why do you think then it was such an emphasis of our founding fathers to have at the time men of character or that were above reproach in these roles? Now, granted, they didn't think men were angels. Otherwise, governments would be entirely unnecessary. That's why there's the whole system of checks and balances. But I guess I'm just not so quick to dismiss the notion that we should be calling for and requiring even people of the highest moral standard to be filling these seats. And you can get into a little bit here of do the ends justify the means here? And you even pointed out in our pre-show meeting, there's a fascinating discussion to be had about, the lesser of two evils and so on and so forth. I just think...
Let me ask you this, Greg. So would you rather have someone in office who is, let's say, a socialist, communist, Marxist, who wants to kind of see our institutions kind of be reimagined and restructured, and you know what that's going to bring, and we would end up becoming like Venezuela, right? But that person is faithful to their wife at home,
and the other guy,
the other guy, or gal, who is. Believes what you believe economically, is a big Milton Friedman fan. So you love him, right?
Yes.
Right?
Let me tell you about this pencil. You know what it took to make this pencil?
But someone who you really like, you have.
I understand where you're going.
You're
with this.
lockstep in their values and their ideology and belief to a T. Yet they're unfaithful to their spouse at home.
As one time, are they redeemed, or are they in continual sexual exploits that are...
just what would you do?
I think it depends on the situation. Is it a representative? Is it a senator? Is it president of the United States?
So it depends.
Thank God for term limits.
So it depends on if they're a senator or a congressperson. I
will tell you this: when I was presenting,
you're not going to answer the question, are you?
This is a very
is he not going to answer the question,
crafty
Joe?
dodge.
Oh my
it's a crafty dodge.
Jeez, we're live.
In
Greg.
2016, when I had a similar choice, I wrote in someone's name for president. That's what I did with the choice. And do I think that it was right in retrospect? I'm not entirely sure. I would just hope that a candidate in my party wouldn't get to that point where I would have to make that choice. But you're right. Sometimes that's what's on the ballot for a time and place. I'm just saying what I can't stand is the hypocrisy of either side, either turning a blind eye to problems of character in their own party, but then highlighting it when it's to their political advantage, when it's in the opposing party. You understand? That's what I can't stand. I want to call for consistency
before
and
we
integrity.
end the segment, if you had to pick, which one are you picking of the two I just described?
I'm writing in the third party. Greg Tomlin and Tim Gatos in on the John Curley Show. From the G Child to Nate Dogg at the real-time traffic desk. What's going on, Nate?
Yeah, a whole lot still. Global Credit Union has the update up in Everett, North 5. We are still really packed from 526 up to 529. Plan on 25 minutes between Everett and Marysville. South 5 heading into Seattle is heavy from Northgate to I-90. Linwood to Seattle is a 45-minute drive. That's a good 20-minute delay. And this is just volume. Bellevue to Renton, plan on 35 minutes. You're bumper to bumper from 520 to Cold Creek Parkway. From there, it thins out, but you're not in the clear till you get almost down into the S-curves. Seattle to Federal Way, a half hour. Renton to Puyallup on the Valley Freeway, 45 minutes, and we are really heavy from State Route 18 into Puyallup. And through DuPont, South 5 just before Mounts Road, we have a new rollover collision blocking 3 left lanes. You're backed up to Berkeley Avenue. Tacoma to Olympia is at 50 minutes. And really, this is the only backup right now between Tacoma and Olympia. Global Credit Union, where members enjoy no-fee accounts and early payday with direct deposit. Learn more at globalcu.org. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, winner of 7 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards, including overall excellence and investigative reporting.
Just 29 hours later, Joshua Headley sent an unsolicited email to me writing, "I understand there may be a news story coming out."
Thank you who listen, stream, and watch every day. The driving force that pushes us to be the Northwest trusted news source. KIRO News Radio. 97.3 FM.
You know how some parts of the house don't work? Let me explain. There's that closet that you've got that when you open it up, everything falls out. Or you try to find something, you can't because it's not working. There's too much stuff in there. Then how about the garage? I know some people that can't park their car in the garage because there's everything else parked in the garage. You see what I'm saying? There might be some other parts of the house where it's just packed and there's no place to store anything. So maybe you've even gone to renting one of those storage units. Well, that adds up every single month. You can't even remember what's in there. So a better investment to get parts of those house working would be Closets by Design. The consultant comes to your house. They look at the problem. They know that each one of these problems that need to be solved have to be customized. But you don't get a big customized price. You're going to get 40% off plus an additional 15% off in 18 months, 0% financing on approved credit when paid in full. I really became a believer in Closets by Design when they came out to the barn in Cleellum. You should see the work that they did. My goodness. 1-800-BY-DESIGN. That's 1-800-BY-DESIGN. That's closetsbydesign.com.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft.
Oh, no.
That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If we find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes to your financial accounts, we alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that could make all the difference. Save up to 30% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Guys, tired all the time? Gaining weight? Low drive? These aren't just signs of aging. They could be low testosterone or other underlying issues. This June, for Men's Health Month, Revive Men's Health in Seattle is offering a free comprehensive wellness panel, a $400 value. It checks your testosterone, blood sugar, cholesterol, kidney, liver, thyroid, and heart health. No guessing, just answers. Over 100,000 men have trusted Revive to get real results. More energy, better sleep, improved mood, and confidence that shows. If something feels off, don't wait. Take control and protect your long-term health by knowing your numbers. This offer ends June 30th. Schedule your free comprehensive wellness panel today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Feel better. Live stronger. Start now.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor. You visit urgent care over and over again. And it's always the same thing, right? Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and some nasal sprays. But they just keep coming back. You may suffer with chronic sinus infections. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure called the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic. Imagine a procedure so delicate there are no narcotics. Less cutting means less bleeding, so no packing, and no operating room. The Sinusoft procedure is designed for the clinic. If you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, and congestion, find out if the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic, is the solution for you. Call and set an appointment today. 206-388-2770. 206-388-2770. That's 206-388-2770.
Now that Wendy's has these new biggie deals, everyone in the family can get what they're craving, from nugs to JBCs. The parental units can get an $8 biggie bundle, the eldest who think they're so grown can get a $6 biggie bag, and the little one who can do no wrong can get a $4 biggie bites. You know, assuming they have a credit card. No, I'm kidding. We take cash too. 4, $6, and $8 biggie deals for the whole family. Only at Wendy's.
Price and participation may vary. Single items at regular price. Prices may be higher in Alaska, California, and Hawaii.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to reach a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now or go to carsforkids.org.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
Join the conversation and text your favorite show on the KIRO News Radio text line at 888-973-KIRO. That's 888-973-5476. Powered by Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
The John Curley Show mailbag is brought to you by Advanced Hair Restoration.
Greg Tomlin and Tim Gatos sit on the John Curley Show. All right, ready, Tim? You going to sing it with me, the mailbag song? You take the third, I'll take the fifth.
I love it.
Go ahead.
I love it.
Here we go. Don't mess this up. The third.
I'm the mailman, as you can see. I'm the mailman, don't nobody mess with me. I'm the mailman, if you didn't know. I'm the mailman, bring the mail to your door.
That was very poor, actually. I carried my part on that. Andy in the 360 off topic. Oh, good. Another week of Curly's part-time radio show. Look, Curly, can I say this, is in small claims court, right?
Was, yes.
Did he say hooah while he was there? We don't have any word on that
He
yet?
said he would. Big update tomorrow, but
Ooh, I'm going to be tuning in.
This is big.
This is a big deal.
Yes.
This is a big time.
Okay, let's hope truth and justice prevailed.
Yeah, Dennis in Arlington. Where's Waldo? I mean, Curly.
And Andrew in the 509, love the TGGT show. Can I make that a thing? Hey, Rockstar Greg, how do you think Annika did in Neil's place? If I knew either of them, I would say they both did well.
Yeah.
Neil
Peart.
Yeah.
Who's
Neil
that? Who's talking about the Rush drummer?
Come on, man.
Yeah, great.
Best drummer
chops.
of all time.
Sure, why not?
Yeah. RB in the 360. If Nate is the Nate dog, does that make Gatos the G child? The G child.
The Nate dog and the G child. James in the 425. You need to get a heat pump so you can have heating and AC.
Dude,
that costs money, though, right?
I never thought of this.
Yeah, I never thought of that before.
Come on, guys.
Man. Tom in Marysville, we were referring to this earlier. 1962 Seattle's World Fair had a bigger and lasting impact than FIFA will. The World's Fair even made the cover of Life magazine twice.
Not exactly apples to apples, Tom.
Yeah, but you know what? I like, that's good. That's good stuff, Tom.
On the Inner Bay, a tiny home village, Kirk from Tacoma, these tiny homes are low barrier. Also, why would you reward somebody with shelter who is not willing to seek help? This is part of the ongoing issue, and when intelligent individuals are in denial of these circumstances, it takes away from their intelligence.
The 425 homeless and drug addicts are coming to Bellevue now because of the light rail. It just gave them a free ride over to Bellevue and Redmond.
Come on and take a free ride.
Are you in the city of Bellevue, Greg?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah. No, I go to Bellevue a lot, though.
Yeah. You're in this.
Where do you live, Tim?
Are you in
which neighborhood?
Are you in North Bend?
No, I'm not. I'm East Side.
East Side.
Is that vague enough for you? From
vague
the 206, enough. Greg Nichols used a de-icer that was supposedly environmentally friendly. It did not get rid of any of the ice on the roads, but instead created large bumps and mounds in the middle of Seattle streets, and cars could not get around. I guess I memory hold that one.
I guess
Tim.
so, yeah. Is that? Oh, here we go.
And now it is time for the letter of the day.
The letter of the day from the 360 on Seattle turning a blind eye. It's just like when the little boy is being left alone in the tent, right in plain view of everyone, and no one did anything to remove him from the drugs and abuse. Then he and his so-called parents just disappeared. The police and child services need to step up. People just look the other way, sadly.
That's all she wrote.
That's all she wrote. That's all she wrote.
To the east side.
Greg, a pleasure, my friend. Thank you.
Tim, it's been a real thrill.
It's been a thrill. Joe, appreciate you.
Always a pleasure.
Always fun. Andrew, Nate Dogg. Good work, fellas.
Nate didn't do anything. Don't thank him.
And go.
I'm still in the room, Joe. Thanks.
Sorry.
Down in DuPont, South 5, just before Mounts Road, we've got this rollover blocking 3 left lanes, and you're backed up to Berkeley. That's a bumper-to-bumper backup. Tacoma to Olympia is a 50-minute commute, but this is the only backup along this route. Southbound on Nisqually Road down there in the same area, we've got a 3-mile bumper-to-bumper backup from I-5 down to 7th Avenue. I think this is just due to road work. Renton to Puyallup on the Valley Freeway, plan on 40 minutes. The north end pretty much cleared out. The south end is still bumper to bumper from State Route 18 into Puyallup. Here in Seattle, South 5 still heavy coming out of Northgate to I-90. We're at 45 minutes from Linwood in the downtown Seattle. Bellevue to Renton's at 35 minutes, bumper to bumper from 520 to Cold Creek Parkway. Then you thin out, but you're not in the clear till you get to about the Renton Landing. And Everett, we are still struggling as we have all afternoon. North 5 packed from 526 to 529. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Choke Points with Chris Sullivan.
With Choke Points, we try to answer listeners' questions. It can be as simple as a neighborhood stop sign, or it can be as big as the budget for transportation. I don't care. I'll find the answer for you. It's really easy to get a hold of me at mynorthwest.com. We have a direct link there that gets right to me. You can also do it in the app. You can hit me up on the text line.
Choke Points, presented by Carter Subaru. Tuesdays and Thursdays on KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Will?
When I was 50, my whole life fell apart. I lost my job, I lost my wife, I lost the house, I lost pretty much everything except for my life. When the IRS came calling, I just didn't have it in me. I felt like Wile E. Coyote, just waiting for that IRS anvil to drop.
Then Will found tax relief advocates.
I heard their advertisement on the radio, I wrote down the number, and I made the call that changed everything. The IRS gave me a bill for $40,000. Tax Relief Advocates got that down to $3,200. I've paid 9 cents on the dollar. Now that's a great deal in anybody's book.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Will did and call TRA for a consultation.
But for me, the real win is I got my life back.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-488-2578. 800-488-2578. That's 800-488-2578.
Insulation rebates from PSC are at historic highs. American Crawl Space and Pest Services gave over $3 million in PSC insulation rebates last year, more than any contractor in Washington. Homeowners, business owners, and PSC trust American Crawl Space and Pest Services. Was your home built before 1990? Visit AmericanCrawl.com to see how much you can save on replacing your insulation.
American Crawl, the heroes you call.
Hey, you know Earthwise Salvage in Soto? That really cool place with all the amazing doors, windows, and other treasure? Great news! They just opened a brand new location nearby. The Salvage Lumber Warehouse is ready to serve as a central resource for contractors, builders, home DIYers, and hobbyist woodworkers, providing access to cleaned, de-nailed lumber ready for reuse, flooring, beams, siding, mantles, live edge slabs, and so much more. All harvested from structures, not forests. Visit EWSalvage.com.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Running a small business means juggling a lot. Your network has to handle it all. That's where a fiber-only provider falls short. You deserve a partner who gives you a greater advantage. Introducing the Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A first-ever combination of the largest, fastest fiber-powered network, the most reliable Wi-Fi, gig speeds with equipment and security included, and a 5-year price lock. Plus, it's all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. The Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A new standard for small business with reliability, security, and savings in one. When you add it all up, no one does business like Comcast Business.
Switch today. Get started for $60 a month for 12 months when you add an advanced solution to a qualifying internet package. Limited time offer. New customers only. Requires 300 megabits per second internet, security edge, and additional qualifying service. 1-year agreement, paperless billing, and autopay with bank account required. Taxes and fees extra. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report, May 2025.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
G. Scott here. Safeway wants you to know.